Welcome to the program. Facebook is up. Instagram is up. Our lives seem to be back to normal. That's good. We're doing okay again. Yesterday, everything shut down. The world shut down. People in mass panic. I found it interesting that Facebook had to go to Twitter to put out the reason that their system went down. But everybody's back. Everybody's back today. Welcome to the program. Glad to have you on this Tuesday. The Bill Michaels Show, presented by our friends at Bud Light. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. Glad to have you. Ben Kenny producing the show, as always, and a lot to get to again today. It never stops. You had a pretty good game last night. Justin Herbert, man, what an impressive performance. What an impressive performance out of the San Diego, the L.A. Chargers last night. John Gruden talking about how wild the visitors' locker room is at SoFi Stadium and such, and you know, Gruden's always going to find something to complain about, but that's going on. You got the Packers, and the picture is unveiled on social media of Jair Alexander in the sling. And I'll say this, don't panic until they tell you to panic. And the reason being, if indeed it's an AC joint, they will immobilize it. So I'm not counting on him being there this week. I'll tell you that right now. But they will immobilize it just to let because the more you move it, the more swelling there is. So that's the reason they want to get a second opinion. They want to make sure that it's what their original diagnosis. And anytime, by the way, they seek a second opinion, that's not good. Just an FYI. Because usually what will happen is they'll go, oh, you've got this. And then they'll say, you know what? Before we declare you done for the season, let's make sure we get this. Or let's make sure that our course, maybe there's a specialist that deals specifically with the AC joint that they can go to. But whenever you see a guy in a sling, it's not because it's completely detrimental. It's mainly for the fact that they want to immobilize it. It's like an ankle sprain with a boot. You just want to make it immobile. You don't want it moving. The more it moves, the more it swells. And it just makes healing that much more difficult. So you immobilize it immediately. Now, the fact that he's going for a second opinion, that is concerning because Doc McKenzie's seen this. He's been there, done that. So if Doc McKenzie's saying, we better call somebody else in to take a look at this, they're either looking for a course of treatment or just to verify what it is they indeed saw before they shut it down for the season. One of the two. So you hope it's the former, not the latter, but the sling did not make me nervous. The fact that Matt LaFleur said, we're going to get another opinion on, course of treatment or whatever his specific words were, basically alluded to the fact that they're still in the information gathering stage. That's not good. That's not good. So the Packers nursing some injuries, off today, back at it again tomorrow, getting ready for the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Mixon, the running back for the Bengals, he's got a slight ankle sprain. He is listed. They haven't given anything officially, but yesterday I was reading the Cincinnati newspaper, and they were saying he's questionable for the upcoming game, depending on what they're going to officially put on the injury report come Wednesday. But Joe Mixon's been banged up since he got into the league. That guy can't stay healthy. He just can't. And sometimes it's just bad luck, but he can't stay healthy. So we'll see if Joe Mixon's actually able to go come Sunday, as the Bengals are going to host the Packers down at Paul Brown Stadium. Then I got into this discussion last night, and Ben, I'm going to ask you this. So I'm talking to a friend of mine, and we're just kind of going over. He's from Cincinnati, and they're all geeked up because they ended up beating Notre Dame. Okay, the University of Cincinnati beat Notre Dame, and now they're all talking about whether or not they're going to make it to a Final Four, which I think would be ludicrous, but that's another argument for another day. But one of the things he said to me was, the best thing that could have happened to Graham Mertz was for him to get hurt and miss a game or two. Do you agree with that?
No.
And the reason
what was the thought?
The reason why is because he looks at it, he's pretty knowledgeable. He looks at it, he says, now he said, Mertz has his flaws, no doubt. He said, but the offense is so rudimentary. He said that there's not a quarterback that's going to survive in it. So Put Mertz on the sideline and just watch this offense operate exactly the same. Nothing changes. And this would prove to everybody that it's not Mertz, it's the play caller. Do you agree with that?
Not really, because I don't think Paul Chryst calling plays is the biggest reason this team can't score. It's the fact that the offensive line can't protect or move anybody off the ball.
That's what I said.
So I think even if Mertz goes to the sideline and misses a game or two, he's going to come back. It's going to be the same struggle.
See, that's exactly what I said. I said, look, it's not just Mertz. Mertz has had his problems, no doubt. But I said, not being able to run the football, the offensive line allowing constant pressure. I said, it's been one chaotic thing after the other. And it seems like there's no perfect play. It seems like there's always some kind of the offense or whether it's somebody not running the right route or whether it's Mertz just holding onto the football too long or just missing a throw or what have you. I said, it's always been something. It's never just looked perfect. And that was my argument. So his argument was the best thing for Mertz, get hurt. That way he's out a couple of games and everybody can see that it's not Mertz. And I said, Mertz was just starting to play well in mid-portion of that Michigan game before he went down when he got just decimated by a couple of defenders who just took him to the ground. I said that he was just starting to kind of feel it and look decent. And not that they were going to come back by any stretch of the imagination and all of a sudden just walk away and win that game running away. But at least they looked better. And he said, nope, it's the best thing for Mertz to go down with an injury. And not the fact that he wanted to see him hurt, but if he is hurt and has to take a couple of weeks off, that might not be the best thing for him. And I staunchly disagreed, but he did not. So I just wanted to see what your thought was.
They're also playing Illinois this weekend, which, if anything, is a chance for the offense better and Mertz to gain confidence, the line to finally have a matchup where they're not overmatched.
Right. That was my sentimentality. I said, if you're going to get healthy against Illinois, get healthy against Army. Do that. And he's staunch, and because he thinks Mertz is better than what he's being applauded for. And I said, I don't know about better, but I'm not going to blame it solely on Mertz. So they were really high on Mertz when Mertz was coming out of high school.
Yeah, I mean, I still am. It's been a mixed bag, right? Because in week one, he was a big reason why the team struggled in the red zone. Mm-hmm. Then you go to the Notre Dame game, his mistakes cost the team. But on Saturday, I thought he looked the best he's looked in 2 years.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good before he went down with the injury. So anyway, that was one of those arguments. And I said, you know what? I'm going to bring it up and kind of go from there and just see what your thoughts are. So I just don't think I also think they're a little delusional when it comes to finding the University of Cincinnati and the Bearcats all of a sudden in the Final Four. Even if they win out, I don't think that's going to happen. Probably not until they go to the Big 12. Then they'll start to get more of that recognition. But, yeah, it's not just for the fact that the Big 12 is the Big 12, even though you're not going to have your premier teams of Texas and Oklahoma there. But at least they'll get more recognition than they will in the American Conference. But, yeah, it's good team, and I applaud Luke Fickell and the fact that Luke Fickell had a chance to leave a couple of times over and has decided to stay. But I also, by the way, I asked him, I said, didn't they upgrade Nippert Stadium, which is where the University of Cincinnati plays? He said, yeah. I said, what's the seating capacity now, 70, 80,000? He said, God, no, it's 43,000. They went from 30,000 to 43,000. And there's some high school stadiums in Texas that are that big. My high school stadium seats 20. So the fact that you've got a college that's actually going to be going into the Big 12 that only seats 43,000, 45,000 if it's standing room only. Boy, that's a little crazy. The fact that they went into the big or not the big house, but into Notre Dame and got a win in front of 100,000 people. That's relatively impressive, though. Anyway, I digress, but I wanted to touch base on that because I thought that's a crazy argument. I can't. I just don't. I don't think it's. I don't think they're going to end up in the Final Four. I think they're a little delusional. But the Graham Mertz argument just made me kind of scratch my head. 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, do it. 877-867-1670. If you want to chime in, phone lines are wide open. Anything and everything today. Twitter @Bill_Michaels, @Bill_Michaels. Over on the Facebook fan page, go to facebook.com/The The Bill Michaels Show. You can find us on YouTube and subscribe for free. That continues to go up, which is nice. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show, Michaels Show, and just put it all together. You can find us here. Subscribe absolutely free to the program. You can find us over on Twitch. Yesterday, YouTube, either over the air or YouTube. Those were the two ways to track us down. Well, the app as well. But once Facebook and everything else went down, and that was it. We got shut off. So YouTube was it. By the way, speaking of the app, you can download the app over on your Apple, your Android, whatever kind of phone it is, your Google phone, whatever it happens to be, just download it. It is just Wisconsin Sports Zone app, Wisconsin Sports Zone app, and our flagship station, The Zone, is going to pop up, and there you go. Simple as that. That's the best way to find us. This one is from Bill. Bill says, no way. Let Graham Mertz play. He's only going to get better with each and every rep. This is from Woody. Woody says, Mertz would then be vindicated if he sat out for a couple of games and this offense still stunk. Everybody would realize it's not all his fault. He's taking way too much heat here in Madison. Then this one is from Continental Dave. Continental Dave says, I don't think Mertz is getting enough credit for what he's actually been able to do under center. Yeah, he's made some bad throws, but this offensive line stinks, and I can't remember the last time a Badgers offensive line was this bad. Barry must be pulling what's left of his hair out. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Then you've got playoff baseball tonight. Playoff baseball, it gets underway, and it gets underway with the rivalry. In case you happen to look at the four-letter network, which I'm surprised they're just not running a Red Sox-Yankees infomercial with all of the commercials they're running for this game coming up tonight. But it is maddening when I was trying to watch a little bit of highlights this morning, how much they're into the Yankees and the Red Sox. Nothing else seems to matter in the world right now. It's Yankees, Red Sox, history. They're showing all the different highlights from these two teams and these postseason meaningful games over the years. And Aaron Boone's walk-off home run and Jeter and going back to Martinez, throwing Don Zimmer's head off the ground and all of that. And they are back at it tonight. So those two teams get underway as they kick off the postseason. Tomorrow you're going to have the Dodgers and the Cardinals. The Brewers know their time now, which is nice when they get underway come on Friday and on Saturday. Brewers not getting a lot of respect for primetime games, that's for sure. They got the mid-afternoon games pretty much both days. But nevertheless, I'm excited. And we will tell you why the Milwaukee Brewers and some of the other teams out of the National League, why they have the opportunity to win it all and what makes them that good. 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, give us a shout, say hello. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show on this Tuesday coming up right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Even though the calendar has turned, there's still plenty of time to hit the links at Timberstone Golf Course in Iron Mountain, Michigan. Timberstone is offering end-of-the-season golf and stay packages good until end of season. Stay one night at the newly renovated Pine Mountain Lodge and play 18 holes of golf for only $149 per person, double occupancy, or spend 2 nights and play 2 rounds of golf for only $249 per person. This is a limited special. Call Pine Mountain Lodge and ask for Missy today, and ask for the Timberstone end-of-season special.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Hey, if you have anything when it comes to maybe a boat, if you've got an awning in front of a business, you got some office furniture, whatever it happens to be, don't forget about our buddy Dwayne at Dwayne's Cover It All up in Wausau, 715-870-2119. Wisconsin's best canvas and upholstery provider, and does fantastic work. Go to Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com, DUANES. Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. If you're coming to town, you're going to go to a Brewers game. Maybe you're going to go to one of those Bucks games coming up. You've got Admirals games back this year. Marquette game, UWM game, Packers game. They do it all. Wisconsin is their best sports bar. Stenny's, second to National and Walker's Point, by far an award-winning Bloody Marys. Go to Stenny's. So here's the lowdown in Major League Baseball. A couple of things to think about. First of all, the team with the worst record over the final 2 weeks of the season, the Milwaukee Brewers. Atlanta, who had the worst record of all division winners at 88-73, went 11-2 over the last 2 weeks. The Dodgers 10-2, San Francisco 10-2, St. Louis 11-3. Followed by the Yankees, the Rays, the White Sox, the Astros, the Red Sox, who went 6-5, and the Brewers with the only losing record down the stretch in all of baseball. The only losing record in all of baseball. It appears that the top front runner for the National League is Trey Turner. He led the National League in Fangraphs WAR and was right there in baseball's references WAR as well. The reality is Philadelphia's Bryce Harper, Washington's Juan Soto, San Diego's Fernando Tatis Jr. are the favorites to win it all. So we'll have to wait and see there. But the Cy Young, 11-5, 2.43 ERA, 167 innings, 12.61 strikeouts per 9 innings. 1.83 walks over 9 innings and 0.038 home runs over 9 innings. Those are the best numbers in baseball. They belong to Corbin Burns by far. But here's the manager of the year. And this comes out of the Four Letter Network. Says this one is pretty simple. Gabe Kapler. He took the Giants team that even most optimistic thought would work out maybe at about 85 wins, and they ended up at 107 wins on the season. And they say, with all due respect to manager Craig Counsell, the way the team ended may have a say in this as well. And the fact that the Brewers limped into the postseason, even though they were talking about saving guys and energy and keeping guys healthy. I'm sure Craig Counsell, he's known victory. He's known what it's like to get a ring. He's known what it's like to hoist a trophy. He was integral in whether it's getting a base hit to drive in the winning run to win a World Series or scoring the winning run to win a World Series. He knows what it is. So I don't think he really has much care or concern for manager of the league, but the team ended and the ended for San Francisco, going in opposite directions. That might have been the difference maker. Because I really thought when the Brewers went out to the West Coast and they took 3 out of 4 from the Giants and were sitting on top of the world and they looked like they were going to win 102, 103 games, I thought, you know what? No brainer. Brewers, Craig Counsell is going to win this award. And then down the stretch, they just tripped. They stepped on themselves. By all means. Stepped on themselves. So anyway, long story short, that's just some of the odds and some of the things that are being discussed right now in Major League Baseball. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. By the way, and I had said this yesterday, that I was waiting for Urban Meyer to kind of implode after the whole video surfaced, and then he apologized, and then after that, after his explanation, is when the second video surfaced, where he said, yeah, they were trying to get me on the dance floor, and I didn't want to go, and yeah, she got too close to me, and I should have got myself out of that situation. And then the second video surfaced, where not only was he not getting himself out of the situation, but he had his hand from the backside, between her legs, groping this woman, the whole thing, and she wasn't moving. And clearly they knew each other. I said right there, his credibility's gone. Well, Michael Silver says that Urban Meyer's situation in Jacksonville is now at a crisis point, especially in the locker room. One player said he has zero credibility in the stadium. He had very little to begin with. Again, you're talking about a college coach who really, for all intents and purposes, has a lot of assistants do the work. Urban Meyer is unbelievably good at putting together a staff and dictating to the staff how he wants the rest of the team to be run. He's a master at it. He's proven he's unbelievably good at it. No doubt. But when it comes to leading men and having that credibility, he's a guy that pontificates from an office somewhere. He doesn't have that. He walks in and everybody knows he's king, and you can do that in college, not in the pros. And I've said this from the beginning. It goes on to say that players were particularly put off by the fact that Meyer canceled Monday's team meeting as he dealt with his own uproar over the videos of him and a young woman getting cozy in the Ohio bar. He even canceled the team meeting, quote, he was too scared, a player said, to face us. Instead, Meyer only apologized to position groups individually. He portrayed the woman in the video as a random person who was just there dancing. Suffice it to say, his audience was skeptical. Said one player, we looked at him like WTF. Right then, he left. Everyone started dying laughing, and he knew it. The bottom line is, said the player, it's bad. I don't know how he's going to function. That's the thread coming from Michael Silver, who's got the inside scoop on the Jacksonville Jaguars locker room. So I would think when I was back at Ohio State, Urban Meyer was my second year in '86 was an assistant coach. He was a grad coach. He was a tight ends position, as a matter of fact, but he was a grad coach. He was a grad coach, yeah, in '86 under Earl Bruce. 877-867-1670. Things are just bad. And he had no business going there. I mean, granted, he's had a lot of success, a ton of success in at Ohio State and in the collegiate level, at Florida as well. And he's probably going to end up with the USC job because he's going to get canned, and then which may turn out to be the best thing for him, but for his reputation, that's pretty much gone. That's pretty much gone. If you got players now in a locker room going, yeah, you don't belong here, that's pretty much it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, feel free. Going back to Brewers baseball. There's a list at MLB.com. If you go through it, you can read the report from all the different reporters as to what each team has that could allow them to win a title. The Braves, with the trade deadline acquisition of Adam Duvall, Jorge Soler, and Rosario, the Braves added outfielders who each hit at least 30 homers either this year or within the past 3 seasons. The trio joined a lineup that already included Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, and Austin Riley, who all enjoyed 30-homer seasons this year. Dansby Swanson nearly gave the Braves 4 infielders with 30-plus homers. This power plays into the postseason when top-flight pitchers often prevent teams from being successful with station-to-station approaches. But there's reason to question Atlanta's starting pitching depth and certainly the bullpen. But the power they have can cure a lot of ills. Meanwhile, the Brewers, they've got elite talent at the top of their rotation in Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, and Freddie Peralta, all of whom were among the National League Cy Young Award contenders for most of the season. And capable depth behind them, Eric Lauer with a 3.19 ERA and right-hander Adrian Hauser with a 3.22 ERA. Then they have an elite option at the back end of the bullpen in Josh Hader, who has a strong case to win the National League Reliever of the Year again for the 3rd time in 4 seasons. Obviously, the absence of Devin Williams kind of hurts the pitching staff, takes them down a little bit. But the offense, that's hit or miss, especially with Christian Yelich slogging through, as they put it, a 2nd consecutive subpar season. But their outstanding pitching means they typically just need 1 or 2 big hits within a ball game, and they can win it. Now, the Cardinals, during the Cardinals' homestand this season, the club held a 10-year commemoration of the 2011 World Series team, a hot September club who clawed their way to a wild card and made a magical run to the top of baseball's mantle. Now, the club long knew they had the talent to win a championship, though they might not have shown it at points in the regular season. They simply believed they needed a ticket to October, and the rest would then take care of itself. This 2021 team is not 2011. In fact, they're hotter, accomplishing a feat at a 17-game win streak, never been done before in franchise history. They've morphed into a team that nobody wants to face right now. Nobody. The Dodgers, on the other hand, coming into the postseason, most people thought the Dodgers were going to be the, carried by an explosive offense. But over the last 6 months, the offense has shown signs of being somewhat elite, but it's been inconsistent for most of the season, particularly over the last 2 months. Instead, it's been the pitching staff. Dodgers to the 2nd best record in Major League Baseball. That's what's carried them. The rotation led by Max Scherzer, Walker Buehler, both of whom will likely finish in the top 5 in the NL Cy Young Award voting. Then the Dodgers have Julio Urias, who led Major League Baseball in wins. Even if they have to go without Clayton Kershaw because he's got that left elbow inflammation and tightness, the top end of the rotation still elite, and the Dodgers going to need their offense to step on the playoffs. But the starting rotation should keep LA within striking distance in every game they play. And meanwhile, the Giants, fueled by a mix of resurgent veterans and a deep cast of supporting characters, never had a bad month during the regular season, which explains why they held the best record in baseball for most of the year, and their longest regular season skid was only 4 games, a sign that their depth and ability to rebound from those losses with the oldest position players in the group in the majors, the Giants have plenty of experienced players who have been here before and won't be overwhelmed by the big stage. That's a breakdown of all the National League teams right now going into the postseason. So we know the Brewers, they got pitching. Kershaw, we'll have to wait and see if he's able to kind of come back and be anything this postseason. But still, they've got solid pitching out in L.A. with sporadic bats. The Brewers have solid pitching in Milwaukee with sporadic bats. They don't have nearly as good a pitching in Atlanta, but they've got power. You've got St. Louis, one of the hottest teams in baseball, led by Yadier Molina, the veteran and the captain. You've got the Giants, who just have a lot of depth and a lot of veteran experience. It's going to be an interesting postseason. I'm excited for it, but by no means do I feel that just because the Brewers have three of the top starters in Major League Baseball, that all of a sudden they're just going to waltz themselves into an NLCS, because they got to get big hits, and they've got to have somebody this postseason step up, and they're going to have some consistency for them to win it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. By the way, Ian Rappaport says he's addressed the matter with Urban Meyer. Specifics of our conversation will be held in confidence. What I will say is that his conduct last weekend was inexcusable. I appreciate Urban's remorse, which I believe is sincere. Now he must regain our trust and respect. That will require a personal commitment from Urban to everybody who supports, represents, or plays for our team. I am confident he will deliver. So he has not been fired. Urban Meyer has not been fired, but man, he's got a lot of work to do to repair what's going on inside that locker room. Stay tuned. Got a lot more of the Bill. Man, that's a lot of information in the first half hour of this program. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
5 years, no interest, Wayne Larrabee.
5 months, no first payment, Leroy Butler.
5 years, no interest.
5 months, no first payment.
Hey guys, why not both?
Gina Della from Pella?
Now, Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers you up to 5 years, no interest, 5 months, no first payment, plus up to 5% same-day order savings.
You mean?
Yep. 555's been extended through October 31st, so you can buy now and be all nice and cozy when those chilly winds blow. Plus, get up to 5% same-day order savings at your initial consultation.
You know, Leroy, I had Pella Lifestyle Series windows installed at the Larrabee house, and we just love them. No more drafts.
Pella windows are backed by some of the best warranties in the business.
Come on, guys. What do you say?
5 years, no interest, Leroy.
5 months, no first payment, Wayne.
Even up to 5% same-day order savings at your initial consultation, but only through October 31st. Set your free consultation now
At PellaWI.com.
Certain
restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Michaels in 2. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Glad to have you. The Bill Michaels Show, we continue on. And here's something to think about. Bill tweets us at Bill_Michaels. He says, are we questioning Craig Counsell and the methodology? No, we're healthy. And I am in no position to second guess the best manager the Brewers have ever had. Is Craig Counsell the best manager the Brewers have ever had? If you think about it in its long history, that's a never thought of it that way. Harvey Keene, we all know. Bamberger, we all know. I think even he doesn't get a lot of credit, but what Ned Yost did when he got hired to change the mentality, not only in the clubhouse, but in the front office, because he took over a team that was just bad. And then gradually, I mean, Ned was, he didn't come in and say, we're going to win a championship. He came in and said, we can't do anything until we get to 500. So let's get over 500 and start winning and know what it's like to win. And then remember, he was fired with just under 20 games remaining. And then Dale Swaim took it over. And then everything changed after that. But at least he got them above 500 and competitive. And pretty much the expectation for the Brewers has been competitiveness ever since, because the Brewers proved they could do it. But I remember, man, you look at Ken Maka. Ron Renicky was pretty good. But Ken Maka, Davey Lopes, Jerry Royster, you go through the list of managers and firings and hirings, and and Phil Garner, he toiled away for a long time in the organization and had a sub 500 record there. But yeah, when you think about it and his managerial record, Craig Counsell in the modern day and age is the best manager most likely you would consider. I mean, now he has not taken them to a World Series. So maybe if that's what you're if that's what you're going to base upon the best being, then yeah, he's not there yet. But in terms of consistency, postseason and such, yeah, he's been the best. You know, he's been the best. 877-867-1670, 867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, do it. But is Craig Counsell the best? The best when it comes to getting this team to the postseason? Wouldn't you have to say yes? I mean, Craig Counsell took over his first year. He went 73-89. He's had a winning record ever since. The year prior, under Ron Renicky, when Craig Counsell took over midway through, the team was 68-94, then went 73-89, 86 wins, 96 wins, tying a franchise record, 89 wins. And then last year, he had a sub-500 record of 29-31, but did get them into the postseason because of the shortened year, because of COVID, and then 95 wins this year. So Craig Counsell, yeah. Prior to that, Ron Renicky, let's see here. Ron Renicky had 96 wins, 83, 74, 82, and then 68 his final season. But he only went to the postseason once, and that was 2011, where they lost in the NLCS. Prior to that, Ken Maka had the 2-year stint. That wasn't very good. You had Ned Yost, who, and again, Ned Yost took over a team after Davey Lopes. Davey Lopes, his last season with him and Jerry Royster, went 56-106. Oh my God, remember those days? Holy crap. Went 56-106. The next year, Ned Yost took over, went 68 wins, 67 wins, 81, got to 500, 81-81. 75 wins, 83 wins, and then 90 wins that year, and lost in the NLDS to the St. Louis Cardinals. Prior to that, you had Davey Lopes and Jerry Royster. You had Phil Garner and Jim Lefevre. Tom Trebelhorn was okay, but didn't have consistent winning teams. George Bamberger didn't have consistent winning teams. In Trebelhorn took over for him in the second year. There was Buck Rogers. Harvey Keene took over when they lost in the World Series in 1982, when they won 95 games. I mean, George Bamberger was prior to that, but he had some winning seasons. He had 95 and 93 years and 78 and 79. But yeah, it was then it went to 67, 66, 68 on down from there. So yeah, you look at Craig Counsell as the best manager in Brewers history. I never thought of it that way. But in the short history since 1969, when the Brewers were the Seattle Pilots and then changed over to the Brewers in 1970, yeah, that Craig Counsell's been the best manager in Brewers history. I never, maybe because I live in the moment, I don't look at it as historical value, so to speak. But man, when you sit back and you think about the career, absolutely. Good stuff. Good stuff. But it's one of those things where you're kind of glad you have your eyes open a little bit. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. And by the way, since 2004, and somebody had said to me about the Miller Park and American Family Field fans. Now this year you got to throw out, and last year you got to throw out, because it was COVID for a portion of this season, but the Brewers still this year put through the turnstiles 1,824,282 people. But since 2004, Brewers fans have steadily shown up, putting upwards of 2 million and even at times 3 million people through the turnstiles at Miller Park and American Family Field. One of the best numbers in baseball. Good stuff. Going to go ahead and take a quick break. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers are determining what's next for defensive back Jair Alexander, who suffered a severe shoulder injury against the Steelers. Head coach Matt LaFleur says Jair's MRI being reviewed by several specialists.
Well, we're still kind of getting all the opinions, but I'll have an update for you guys on Wednesday.
Up next, the Packers head to Cincinnati to face the Bengals, who have beat the Vikings, the Steelers, and the Jaguars to go to 3-1. The only loss they had was against the Bears at Soldier Field, week 2 by a final score of 20-17. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow.
Obviously, we had the one setback that we didn't play very well in Chicago, but we've played pretty well the other 3 games. So we're just going to keep building on it and, get a head start on Green Bay.
Bengals head coach Zach Taylor worked alongside Matt LaFleur together for a year under Sean McVay at the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, really detailed, just consumes tape and understands and can recall every look. And rarely did you ever want to get an argument with Matt about something that was on tape because he was always right. He's just a tremendous person. He and I became really close friends over that year we were together. I remember I was at Disneyland when he called me to tell me he was going to Tennessee, and I couldn't believe it, after 1 year, but it was just a great opportunity for him. From this week, but close and just love the way he goes about his treats people.
That's Bengals head coach Zach Taylor. In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Glad to have you back, the Bill Michaels Show, on this Tuesday. Continuing on. By the way, the comparison, and many of you going back to the Urban Meyer discussion from a little bit earlier, the comparison of Urban Meyer heading into the NFL, kind of comparable to Jimmy Johnson. Both guys started off slow. Jimmy started off 0-4, Urban Meyer 0-4. And Jimmy Johnson ended up going 0-8 and 1-15 in his first year in the NFL. We tend to forget that a little bit. But Johnson was, as I was reading Gary Meyer's column, Johnson was obsessed with the job. Johnson wanted nothing more than to succeed in the NFL. That's what he wanted. His strive was not only to be good in Miami when he was with the U of M, but then when he got into the pros, he was obsessed with being great. And Urban Meyer, I never got that sense, and still don't. Urban Meyer is, again, he likes to be a king on top of the mountain, and you put a lot of work in early, but I don't think he's put the work in. He enjoys being the king of all. And the way, at least from the way I understood it from some of the people that were on the campus at Ohio State, he's a good guy. He's a nice guy. Very much a promoter of the program. Great to boosters. Loves to do the dinners and be lauded. Wants to shake a lot of hands. That's what he's good at. And then having everybody under him report to him and say, okay, what do we got? And then working on game plan to come up with something for that next week, whatever it happened to be. But being a guy that's going to sit in an office and break down film and go into the film rooms with each individual group and work with defensive coordinators and come up with specific game plans, and it's different. It's a 16-hour day in the NFL. It's every day. Urban Meyer liked to take time, as you see. He got out of Cincinnati right after that game on Thursday night and went up to Columbus, Ohio. Took the weekend. Now, granted, he had some time off, so did the players, but a lot of coaches don't do that. A lot of the coaches are meeting the next day saying, okay, what do we got? Give us the physical report. Give us the injury report. Give us who's doing what, who needs to work on what. Let's get the next game plan for Monday together. Let's make sure when these guys come rolling in that we've got everything set up and ready to go. And guys want to win. And if they don't see the head coach striving to win, but standing at a podium, pontificating about it, it's different. It's different. You lose a lot of respect that way. So anyway, that's the difference between, Urban Meyer and, say, Jimmy Johnson in the overall. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. What else do we have here for you? Let's see here. Robin says, do you think that the Brewers best option for manager is Craig Counsell, or I don't understand what you mean. You mean that Craig Counsell should not be the manager? I think Craig Counsell's done a fantastic job. Arstead19 over on Twitter says he disagrees that Craig Counsell is the best manager in Brewers history. Who would be then? Who would be? Who would be the best manager in Brewers history? The best manager in Brewers history is who? I can't. Phil Garner? Phil Garner had longevity, but he wasn't the best. They never even went to the postseason under Phil. Phil Garner took a team his first year that had won 83 the year prior. He went 92-70, and then after that, it was 69 wins, 53 wins, 65 wins, 80 wins, 78 wins, 74 wins, and then was fired with 74 wins. He had one season of 80 wins. His first season was 92-70. That's it. I mean, other than that, it was sub 500. I mean, granted, it has something to do with your talent, but you're wrong. I mean, but there's nothing there that would make you believe it would be Phil Garner. I don't know who else you would think would be the best manager in Brewers history. Good stuff, though. 3 more hours of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Sunday in the Packers' 27-17 victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers saw cornerback Jair Alexander injure his shoulder in the third quarter after coming up with a big hit on Steelers running back Najee Harris. Then yesterday, a picture of Alexander with his right arm and shoulder in a sling surfaced on social media. Head coach Matt LaFleur says they're still in a wait-and-see mode with his injury.
I talked to Flea and Doc McKenzie. They're just getting some other opinions on how to proceed, I guess, is the best way for me to say it right now. I mean, he's a Pro Bowler. He's a captain. You can never have enough great players out there, and right now we've got a few of our stud players on the bench due to injury.
The head coach also reiterated that they hoped linebacker Zadarius Smith was not out the rest of the season after undergoing back surgery. We're not aware of his timetable, but they are preparing to head to Cincinnati this Sunday to take on the Bengals for a noon kickoff. To Wisconsin football, quarterback Graham Mertz, who had to leave the game Saturday against the Michigan Wolverines with a chest injury, says he feels all right just taking it day by day and is listed as questionable for their game in Champaign, Illinois against the Fighting Illini.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up, and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
With the regular season over, the Milwaukee Brewers now turn their attention to the playoffs. The NLDS start at American Family Field this Friday as the Atlanta Braves come to town for first pitch at 3:37. And finally, Bucks preseason starts tonight. They go to Memphis to take on the Grizzlies for a 7 o'clock tip. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Welcome one, welcome all. The Bill Michaels Show on this Tuesday, the 5th of October. We're so glad you're here today. Covered a lot in the first hour of the program. Best manager in Brewers history is whom? I'd look at Craig Counsell and say arguably that Craig Counsell would be the best manager in Brewers history. I don't know who you would think wouldn't be. who would be over Craig Counsell. I mean, if you look at the number of times he's been in the postseason, the record's above 500, and he's probably managed more than any other manager has through sabermetrics. I wouldn't know who else would be a better manager, to be perfectly honest with you. So I think you'd be hard pressed to find many people that would disagree that Craig Counsell is not the best manager in Brewers history. By the way, you've got Max Scherzer is going to be going against the Cardinals in their wild card game. He's been dubbed the starter. Got Garrett Cole going tonight for the Yankees against the Red Sox. That's going to be the first game on the docket. Tomorrow you're going to have the Dodgers hosting the Cardinals. Cardinals being one of the hottest teams in baseball down the stretch. So Max Scherzer is going to see if he can't put his team into further into in that one game playoff, further into the postseason. We'll see if it happens. Meanwhile, you've got Urban Meyer and a lot of criticism coming out of the Jacksonville Jaguars locker room, saying that basically players in there just don't respect the guy. Jair Alexander of the Green Bay Packers walking around in a sling and getting a second and third pin on the AC joint in the shoulder. That doesn't bode well. Got the Cincinnati Bengals getting ready tomorrow to get ready for the Packers. And their running back Joe Mixon a little bit banged up. So we got a lot going on. A lot to talk about. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. You've got the Cy Young Award winners. The debate over on the MLB Network. One is for Max Scherzer, the other is for Corbin Burns. The argument is going to be who will agree. The MLB Network just tweeted it out. I'm going to retweet it, so if you want to take a look at it, you can. There, I just retweeted it. So if you want to check it out, check it out. But Max Scherzer for the Dodgers or Corbin Burns for the Brewers. The NL MVP, Riley from Atlanta, Harper from Philadelphia. Both agree that the AL Cy Young Award winner is going to be Ray from Toronto. And the AL MVP, there's a split as to whether it's Vlad Guerrero Jr. out of Toronto, who's had a tremendous season, or Ohtani, who has just done everything and should walk away with the MVP over there in the American League. 877-867-1670. But you can check that out. I just retweeted it if you want to take a look at it. Go ahead and take a look. This is from Jackie. Jackie says, how can anybody vote against Craig Counsell for the best Brewers manager? He's done more with less and done it with pitching and all the changes and all the manipulation of the bullpen. He's by far the best manager we've ever had. See, I would agree with that. You can just look at the records, look at the results. I would agree with that. I don't know where else you would go. I don't know who else you're going to go to say you've had consistent winning. And remember, I mean, Alex Grammas? No, he was in the 60s. No, when it came to wins. Like I mentioned, Treblehorn was here for a while, and Treblehorn didn't do bad. He had 87 or 91, 87, 81, 74, 83. When it came to wins, he was pretty much consistent and above 500. Never got the team into the postseason. Whereas this is the fourth straight year for Craig Counsell. Ron Renicky took the team to the postseason once. Ned Yost took the team to the postseason once. Buck Rogers and Harvey Keene together took them to the postseason in back-to-back years. They lost in the American League Divisional Series 3-2 with Robin Yount being the best player in baseball that year, going 62-47 in that shortened season. That was a strike-shortened year. And then the next year in 1982, they lost the World Series to the Cardinals, and Harvey's Wallbangers took over for Buck Rogers. But the best manager in Brewers history, I don't know what you're thinking if you think it's anybody else besides Craig Counsell. We couldn't tell you. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. A couple other things I wanted to get to. This is from Greg, and Greg says, hey, Unit, you gave the statistics for the best teams in baseball down the stretch, the Brewers being the worst of them. Is there any record that coincides with the worst record going into the postseason versus winning a World Series? No. That's a great question. No, I don't have any statistics on that, what that means. If anything, if anybody does, let me know. But no, to answer your question, no. Ben, do you have statistics as to the hottest teams in baseball, coldest teams in postseason?
Cold. Listen to this. Since 1996, there were 208 playoff teams. Only two were 4-10 or worse in their last 14 regular season games. The 2000 Yankees and the 2006 Cardinals. Both of those teams won the World Series, and that, I believe, is the Brewers' exact record in the last 14 games.
They're 4-9 in the last. Well, in the last 14 games, they're 4-10. Yeah,
there you go. So if baseball trends mean anything, they've already won.
They've already won the World Series. Okay, let's see what happens. The Atlanta Braves had the best record over the last 2 weeks, 11-2. The Dodgers 10-2. The Giants 10-2. St. Louis 11-3. But you got New York 9-3, 8-4, Tampa Bay 8-5, Chicago 7-6, Houston 6-5, Boston, and then the Brewers with only the only team with a sub 500 record at 4-9. So there you go. Over the last couple of weeks of baseball. Interesting. Well, maybe look again. It's not like they were losing because they were doing anything and everything they possibly could to win to get themselves into the postseason. As Craig Counsell said, we wanted to lighten, they took their foot off the gas. They wanted to lighten the load. They wanted to make sure that this team was healthy and ready to go. Gary says, how can you compare managers when their teams and competition were completely different? By the only means we have to go by, Gary, and that's record. Everybody wants to compare Bill Belichick and Tom Brady to the modern day Lombardian star in wins and championships, yet they're vastly different. We compare managers and managerial records all the time. And I don't think, and if anybody's arguing that Craig Counsell's not the best manager in Brewers history, tell me why. Maybe I'll agree with you. But beyond that, I couldn't honestly tell you. I look at what Craig Counsell has done, the way the game is played, the way it's managed. There's more managerial moves and sabermetric moves. Now go back, and you're right in the sense that some of those teams, go back to Phil Garner. Phil Garner flipped over from the American League to the National League. He was in the National League his last 2 years of managerial experience. Remember, in 1997, they were in the American League. And in 1998, they flipped and they became in the National League Central at that point. So the style of play changed. Yes. But I can still look at it and go, wins it. Now, the other aspect of this is look at the general managers and those who acquired the talent. How talented were some of those teams? Because I don't know maybe the manager might be that much better with less talent. Maybe we could get into that. But beyond that, for the consistency and what we've witnessed, I don't think I'm being a prisoner of the moment saying that, Craig Counsell, for what he's been able to accomplish after taking over a team, remember, who had 70, the year before had 68 wins. He won 73 his next year. Since then, other than last year with COVID, he's been a consistent, one, player in the postseason, and two, a team that's been over 500. Winning 86, 96, 89, and 95 games. Take out the COVID season from last year. Eric says, did Yost really get us to the postseason? Yost set the groundwork. I give Yost a lot of credit. what Yost did was, it was behind the scenes. What Yost did was the whole thing, the dust up with Billy Hall. It segregated the locker room. It segregated the clubhouse. And that was kind of the beginning of the end. So would they have gotten there with Ned Yost still as the manager? I don't know. They weren't trending in that direction. But except for 10 games that year, yeah. Don't forget the trade for CeCe Sabathia also put them over the top. So in essence, yes, Ned Yost was a big part of that. I'm not going to say Ned Yost did not get them to the postseason because he wasn't there for 10 games. He was there for 152 of them. That put them right there in contention. What they were doing was starting to falter down the stretch. And then they got rid of him because of the mood in the clubhouse, turned it over to Dale Swaim, and then they got their taste. But Ned Yost was the one that kind of set the tone to say, guys, we're not winning championships here. Let's get to 500. Then we'll start talking about postseason and championships. And that's where the focus got, because they kept talking about championships. And when you're setting a goal that was so far away that you're never going to reach it, the mentality was every year you were just going to lose. Then he got here and changed things. So I give him credit for that. Yeah. If you want to look at it in reality. And he turned out to be a pretty damn good manager. He took Kansas City to a World Series. That wasn't a fluke. So I do give him some credit. I'm not saying he's better than Craig Counsell. I'm saying that he kind of changed the trajectory of the franchise with the mentality of, we can't talk about championships until you get back to 500. Let's focus there. Because I remember when the Brewers under Ned Yost got to 500, what was it, 2005? When they got to 81 and 81, it was a freaking celebration, man. Because prior to that, they had not been above 500 since 1992. 1992. And then finally in 2005. So it was, 13 years of sub 500 baseball. 877-867-1670. Agree or disagree. But, if you've got a thought as to who the best manager in Brewers history would be over Craig Counsell, I want to hear it. I want to hear you make a legitimate argument and explanation for that. I just think Craig Counsell, and I'm not being a prisoner of the moment, I just think Craig Counsell, results-wise, and for the way the game is managed and played and such today, he's it. And that wasn't something I came into today's show with. This was something that was brought up via Twitter, and it gave me a minute to just pause. 877-867-1670. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Trio Williams lived down the dirt road.
Glad to have you. Welcome back to the program. Local sports fan 3.0 says Davey Lopes. I have no idea what you're smoking.
Davey Lopes never had his second best receiver punch a wall after they won a division.
Right? Yeah. Davey Lopes, no. Davey Lopes went 73 and 89, 68 and 94, 56 and 106 in his final year. Yeah, it was his best player. His first season in 2000 was when Big Daddy Dan D'Amico came up, and that was it. Jose Hernandez, Ronnie Belliard, those guys. And then Jerry Royster took over. Jerry Royster, by the way, Davey Lopes only lasted 15 games into his third season, and they canned him. He was 3-12, remember. So I can't even give him credit for the 56 and 106 because Jerry Royster went 53 and 94. But yeah, Davey Lopes was cut loose.
He probably would have kept pitchers in to finish no hitters, though.
This is true. This is true. Yeah, he came out of the old Tommy Lasorda days of managing. But yeah, Davey Lopes was not good by any stretch of the imagination. TJ Buckskin 6 says, Craig, the best they've ever had, and it's not even remotely close. Who in this team's pretty inept history would anyone argue was actually better? And I would agree with that. Yeah, I mean, and again, this was all started by a tweet saying that the best manager in Brewers history. And I had to pause for a minute and said, okay, wait a minute. Let me check this. And yeah, when you start to go through the history, specifically recent history, from what my memory is, and I'd say, man, there's nobody that even compares. Doesn't even compare. So yeah, good tweet, good stuff, and good discussion. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Dave says, hey, Bill, I just joined the show late. Who do you prefer to win tonight, Dodgers or Cardinals? Dodgers, Cardinals tomorrow night, by the way. Just an FYI, David. Who do I prefer to win? That's a great question. I can't stand the Cardinals. So I can't say the Cardinals. And that stems from years ago of Tony La Russa. I do find it interesting though that I've got a Chicago team to hate. And I hope the White Sox go down in flames. I know there's White Sox fans listening to this program, but I just do. I am not a La Russa fan. I am just not. As good a manager as he is, and he's good. I respect the guy when it comes to his managerial ability. But I just don't want to see Tony La Russa featured in the postseason. I just don't. I hope the Red Sox beat the Yankees tonight. I hope. Yeah. I'd love to see. When it comes to who to represent the American League, either Boston or Tampa Bay. One of those two teams, Boston or Tampa Bay. Obviously, when it comes to the National League side of things, I'd love to see the Brewers. But if I didn't have the Brewers to root for, who would I want to see? God, I don't want to see the Cardinals. And I don't want to see the Dodgers. And I want the Brewers to beat the Braves, so I can't root for the Braves. So I would probably say at that point in time then, if the Brewers get knocked off, then make it the Giants. And at least if Gabe Kapler is going to get manager of the year, at least solidify it with a World Series appearance. Does that make sense? Ben, who you kind of looking over the fence and rooting for in the baseball postseason as it gets underway tonight?
Well, my dad's from Boston, and he's a diehard Sox fan, so I'll root for his happiness.
Okay.
I really wanted the Mariners to make it because they were a lovable loser that hadn't been in the playoffs in, I think, like 20 years. Right. But, I mean, it's obviously the Brewers. Aside from that, I want to see Gabe Kapler lose because I'm sad that he left Philadelphia.
Okay. All right, I can see that. American League side, so you're saying Boston. And is there anybody you can't stand that you're rooting against?
Oh, the Yankees. I mean, I'm a new blood kind of guy. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to see the Yankees and Astros and Dodgers again. I kind of want like a Tampa versus Milwaukee. I think that'd be sweet.
That'd be great. It'd be terrible for baseball ratings, but it'd be great. It would just be awesome. Because it'd be two franchises that don't have a ton of money. I can't say that put fans through the stands because the Brewers do it, but Tampa Bay is woeful when it comes to fan support there. But yeah, I agree. They do it the right way. They do it through their farm system. They grow talent. They make some really smart moves. They have to be very fiscally responsible. I'd love to see Tampa Bay and Milwaukee.
Plus, it's two new age managers that'll make all
Yes.
of the traditional let guys pitch 180 pitches in a game.
Yes.
They won't watch.
Yep. Yeah, I could go for that. 877-867-1670. So I'm rooting for the Red Sox tonight. Kristen's from Rhode Island, but grew up a Boston Red Sox fan. So I've got that to live with as well. So I'm sure tonight's going to be interesting in the house. Because believe it or not, I mean, she's like more astute when it comes to hockey. She's a Bruins fan. Holy mackerel. When it comes to hockey, she's all over it. Can't wait to go watch hockey games. It's like Stenny's here in Milwaukee. You got a hockey bar out in Madison?
No.
Yeah.
It's a Badger hockey town, but not really.
Yeah. Here in Milwaukee, Stenny's is really a hockey bar too. Not only because the owner's son, Ryan plays hockey, but they're a big time Blackhawks, Red Wings, Predators bar. Big time, but they put hockey on all the time down there. But she's a Bruins fan, so between the Red Sox, the Bruins, her dad is a season ticket holder for the Patriots, so they've had a lot of long-term success down there. But she's more of a Brady fan at that point. But yeah, it's interesting in the house. Like the other night when Brady was going back to New England, she couldn't watch the game. It made her sick to see Brady come back in a different uniform. She was a Brady fan for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the Super Bowl. When they ended up beating the Packers, then she became the Brady fan all over again, getting the jersey. But she couldn't watch the game the other night. Made her sick. So, but I got the Boston side of things to live with. I'm actually going to Boston, in Rhode Island, during Thanksgiving. I'm going to go back. I've been there 3 times, I think, 2 or 3 times with the Packers and Brewers. But when you go, you fly in, you do dinner the night before, you go to the game, and you fly out. You're not there. You don't spend a time there. So I've never had a chance to just go and enjoy it, but that's where her family's from. So I'm going to go back during Thanksgiving and fly back over there and experience a little bit. Although you want to really experience that more so in the summertime than the wintertime, but nevertheless. Anyway, I digress. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. So I'm looking for the finals, the World Series being Tampa Bay and Milwaukee. Obviously, there's a Milwaukee bias here, but if you can't have the Brewers in it, is there somebody you would want to have in it? Give us a shout, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Our buddy Joe DeGuano says the Echo Tap in Madison is a great Badger hockey bar. Badger hockey bar, which, you know what? Badger hockey players have been littered throughout the NHL, which is also probably a hockey bar in which you're going to watch former Badgers play in the NHL. So I can see that. But yeah, you've got a legitimate NHL hockey bar here in Milwaukee, and it's only for the fact that it's only 80-something miles from Chicago. So there is a lot of Blackhawks fans, but because the Milwaukee Admirals are the minor league affiliate of the Nashville Predators, and the Nashville Predators owner was originally from Racine, Wisconsin. There's a lot of connection there, and so you get a lot of people down there watching Preds games. You get a lot of people watching the Detroit Red Wings because it's in that area. St. Louis Blues to a certain extent, but yeah, that place gets a lot of people in for hockey night, no doubt. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. When we come back, you had Paul Christ try to explain what we saw on the field on Saturday. And I want you to listen to it. We're going to take a listen to what Paul Christ had to say about his team and trying to kind of explain away what's going on. And I want you to listen to it. We're going to hear from Paul Christ when we come back. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
They don't repair cracked helmets, cracked teeth, or cracked stadium seats. They do repair cracked windshields. Complete Auto Glass, windshield repair and replacement, windshield camera recalibration, and more. An insurance-preferred service provider with free price quotes and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Plus, you'll be happy to know you're dealing with a local, family-owned business who understand their Wisconsin neighbors. Complete Auto Glass, repair and replacement. Visit CompleteAutoGlass.com. Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Of the end of the world, but it's feeling just like every other morning before. Now I wonder what my life is gonna mean if it's gone. The cars are moving like a half a mile an hour, and I started staring at the passengers and waving goodbye. Can you tell me what was ever really special about me all this time?
On a Tuesday, we continue to roll through. We've got the Packers off today. Brewers working out at American Family Field. You've got the wild card for the American League getting underway tonight between the Red Sox and the Yankees. Badgers right now waiting to find out if Graham Mertz is going to be able to go and preparing for Illinois coming up. So a lot going on. And the Badger leaders on the UW football team, they're just trying to figure out what has gone so horrifically wrong. As there's a lot of frustration right now in that locker room. In the meantime, so you've got Paul Chryst meeting up with the media after the game. They lose 38-17. 38-17. And this was what Paul Chryst had to say initially to the media after taking the podium. Take a listen.
It's a good Michigan football team, and we they beat us today, and what do we do and how we go forward? That's on us, and I appreciate this group. I said at the beginning of the season, I like this group and appreciate them, and a lot of it is who they are, and I have confidence in that group. And obviously there's things that, you come after every game and you talk about and they're not corrected, that, we've got to do something about it. Right. And, but I am proud of the way, yes, as a coach, guys, I thought guys that out there and, great compete level, and there'll be some guys that look and played really good football, but hard to celebrate that in a loss. And certainly we've got, there's things we got to get better at to give ourselves, and we're going to keep working on that. We'll get it straight. But the way, how do you respond? You respond by going forward.
Wow.
Bill, I was telling you on our podcast, we play the game, find the complete sentence.
Right. Oh man, how do you respond to that? First of all, I understand what he's saying. He's like, look, you can't dwell on it. You got to continue to move forward. There's some guys that have played really well, and you can't celebrate that. You got to get better as a team. Understand that. And the one statement in there, he says, I appreciate this group. Like I said at the beginning of the season, I like this group and I appreciate them. And a lot of this is who they are. I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what that means. A lot of this, a lot of what? A lot of losing? I don't understand that. And I'm not being a jerk here. I'm just saying, when he says a lot of this is who they are, a lot of this what? Frustration, a lot of this losing, a lot, because what you're seeing is the result. A lot of this is the result of who they are. I mean, is that I hate to grab a snippet of a statement and glom onto it, but that was said for a particular reason. I just don't know what reason. Does that make sense to you, Ben?
Yeah. I mean, I get lost often in his answers. Because it's a big circle. Starts talking about the team and who he appreciates and the fact that Michigan's good, then they have to move forward. But it takes, 45 seconds to get to that point.
Okay. So it then went on. The discussion was about the offensive line. And here's that discussion.
Yeah, it's I understand, the question, right, Jeff? And yet I think part of the inconsistency is what gets us in trouble, right? And as you go, certainly, you're playing. The guys who are playing, you're playing because they think they give you the best chance, and I still believe it with that group, right? If we're talking specifically, the O-line, but really you can apply that across the board. And together, we've got to be more consistent, right? That has to be the end game. And that's, there's one component, and that's us. And then every week you play and you are challenged against others, right? And so that's where each week, okay, first game, and then you did something the second game is, well, it's a different team, and the third game and the fourth game. But it's I think it's in them, and we gotta bring it out in them.
What? In other words, the offensive line struggling, and you got to get them better. And I agree with the statement. We've got to be more consistent. That has to be the end game. Correct. The whole end of that, and then every week you play and you're challenged against others. And so that's where each week, okay, first game, then you did something the second game. Well, it's a different team. And I have no idea where that's going.
Here's the part that I don't like about it, Bill. He talks about guys that give you the best chance along that unit, and they're still going with those guys. Throughout the entire season, they've been splitting time at every offensive line position, and that makes it pretty impossible for the group to succeed.
Yeah, I've listened to Paul Chris talk after the game. I've heard it on the radio. I've listened to, post-game pressers. This is about as disjointed as I've ever heard of things. I'm let's do one more here real quick, because he talks about the mood after falling to 1-3.
Yeah, I think that it's I think, Jim, the first thing you do is you look inward, and so you're always, every time that you don't, I think I should start by going back. Like, I appreciate this group and the way they put it out there, and therefore you want to do everything you can to help them have success. And when it doesn't happen, I look inwardly, and what is it that I have to do different, have to do better. And I think that's, it's driven by a lot of things. It's driven by competitiveness. It's driven by a care. It's driven by, that's your profession. I've got no problem people that want to bitch about me, right? Because this is my job. This is where I'm at. I want to take it, not project it on the kids.
I appreciate that, because he says, hey, if you're going to come after somebody, come after me. Come after me as the head coach. Don't come after the guys. Okay. He's taking one for the team. And I a lot of guys in that locker room will appreciate that. But when what I get out of listening to Paul Chryst right now, there's one thing that I think is evident, and I'll see if what you think agrees with what I think when we come back. We're a little bit late for a break. Let's do this. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. I want to talk more about this because I think it's legitimate. Because there's a lot of people that do a lot of things, take a lot of shots and such, and some of it's justified, some of it's not. But I think right now, when it comes to Paul Chryst, there's one common thread through all of this. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers return to practice to prepare for their next road trip Sunday in Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur hopes to have more info tomorrow on the status of defensive back Jair Alexander and his injured shoulder. What about linebacker Zadarius Smith, who underwent back surgery last week?
We do not know if he's out for the year. I think earlier I said we're hopeful to get him back, but as far as the timeline, I just know it's going to be, a while. I know he'll do everything he can to try to get back, and because he's a big part of this football team.
Bengals head coach Zach Taylor watched tape of the Packers win over the Steelers Sunday and had this to say about Green Bay quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
There's a lot of things that probably don't show up in the stat sheet that he does situationally that are just tremendous that you use to teach quarterbacks. Over the 10 years I coached quarterbacks, there's so many situational clips of Aaron Rodgers that you used. I think the one from Sunday is a great example, with him and Tomlin of, Tomlin saw it coming, knew that they were going to get caught with 12. If you're not unimpeded to the quarterback, they're going to get a free play there to take a shot. And he scored many touchdowns over his career on free plays with 12 guys on the field. And so we got to be on top of that. We got to be smart with our substitutions because he stares your sidelines down while he listens to the play and tries to catch you with 12 guys. And our quarterback's pretty dang good at that too. That's a step that he's taken as well. But Aaron Rodgers is really good.
That's Bengals head coach Zach Taylor in Green Bay. I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Going on right now, they have got up at Pine Mountain Resort, they've got some specials going on for the end of season golf packages. You can stay one night, play 18 holes of golf for the whole package, $149 per person. Double occupancy, or spend a couple of nights and play 2 rounds of golf, $249 per person. But they've got a lot of different things going on. They've got the ski swap. Drop off a ski or snowboard equipment, and you can be sold in the morning. If it sells, a portion of the proceeds go to the Pine Mountain Ski Team. You've got the, quote, change your latitude party. The golf season wrap up and the ski season kickoff. Everybody's going to welcome in the special prizes and passes and such. There's going to be a comedy show up there in November. There's going to be the Widows Wine Dinner. That's coming up as hunting season gets here. The Christmas craft show on December 4th. There's all kinds of different stuff. And if you're looking for a great getaway, a one-tank trip for anything, all you got to do is call our girl Missy or Barb, B-A-R-B. Go to 906-774-2747, 906-774-2747, or get a hold of Barb at B-A-R-B at PineMountainResort.com. Barb at PineMountainResort.com, and ask for the Bill Michaels special. Pine Mountain Resort, great place, great people, and a lot of fun. And still a lot of time to get up there in many different facets and enjoy yourself. So going back to the Paul Christ answers, going back to what Paul Christ is saying, and I get it. For the reason we bring it up is because if you listen to it, it sounds like fishing. Okay. There's a lot of fishing going on. Paul Christ right now, in every one of those statements and answers, is one, not giving anybody anything to latch on to. Okay. Paul's setting the bullet. It's trying to keep it away from the kids. And I think most importantly to realize, he doesn't have any answers. There aren't any answers here. I don't know if you're getting that or not, but there's not any answers here. He doesn't have it. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing when it comes to a head coach. It's a bad thing when you don't have answers. You just got to continue to do what you do and try to get better. That's understood. But he's not pointing the finger. He's not throwing his defense under the bus, his offense under the bus, his line under the bus, his quarterback under the bus, his receivers, his running backs, his coaches. He's just there to be there. And he doesn't have answers. He sounds as stunned and as frustrated as most fans. But he's the head coach. So he's got to be the guy that says something. You know? That's it. There's nothing there. There's what do you say? Unless you're honest and say, look, our offensive line is getting their ass kicked. Our quarterback, up until this point or up until he got hurt, for the most part, had been missing throws. At least he started to play better. We don't have that running back like we've had in the past. We don't have a guy that's a power runner. We don't have a guy that's a speedster. We don't have a guy that's breaking them open. We don't have a guy that's shedding blocks. We don't have a guy that's shedding tacklers. We don't have that. I mean, he can't say that. He can't come out and say, we've got a pretty good defense. They've just been on the field too much because our offense is inept. And, oh, by the way, we are susceptible to giving up the big play. There's nothing he can say. So you get this stuttering and stumbling and fishing for words and incoherent rambling at times of like, what did that mean? Wait, what? What, you know? But that's what you get because he doesn't have an answer. This has been surprising, I think, to many. I think to many, this is surprising. And I think it's probably he's one of the biggest and most surprised people there are. Does that make sense, Ben?
Yeah, it does. I mean, he doesn't normally give a lot of answers, but he also hasn't been in a 1-3 spot after 4 weeks. So
right.
Any honest answer he would give would throw other people under the bus, his O-line coach, his special teams coach, and that wouldn't really accomplish much.
I just, when I start listening to this, and I know there's people out there that are just ripping Paul Chryst for his answers and the way he speaks, but this is a guy that right now doesn't have answers. He's got to go and sit before the media. He's got to take questions. You wish there'd be more hardcore questions. You wish there'd be more of, hey, Paul, like you had mentioned, you've changed out offensive linemen. It's not working. The guys that aren't working out, this is your best option. This is all you've got just because they're seniors and juniors. They've got the experience. This is the best option you have right now at winning games. Is there a loyalty to the seniors? Is a loyalty to the upperclassmen? Or is the loyalty to wins and to getting better? I think it's a legitimate question. Is this your best option? You're telling us these are your best players, period. So I think that's a legitimate question, but I think he sounds as shocked and as dismayed as any fan sitting in the stands at Camp Randall. That's just my opinion, and being fair to Paul. And I appreciate the fact that Paul's not coming out and throwing a bunch of people under the bus and pointing fingers and, like we've seen coaches do in the past, not necessarily at Wisconsin, but just in general. But yeah, you can clearly tell. I mean, now the other side of the coin is he's not yelling at the media. He's not being a jerk. He's not screaming at people, come at me, I'm a man, I'm 40, that kind of thing, like we've seen in the past when coaches start to feel the heat and they lash out. He's not Nick Saban, where he's going to control the entire situation and not give you anything and chastise media for asking questions. He's been cordial. But just in going through that, that's a guy that just sounds like he's just standing there going, I have no idea. We just never expected our team to be this bad and to get this manhandled. So all we can do is just try to get on them more to be better. And hopefully that inside that locker room, there's a level of pride among leadership that says, this is subpar. This is not acceptable. And you kind of help the high tide raise all ships. 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next. Oh, now lift. Okay, go ahead.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers getting the day off for practice as they look forward to this Sunday's game against Cincinnati. Among a number of bright spots of the team's 3-1 start has been linebacker Devondre Campbell. He has led the team in tackles each of the last weeks and created turnovers in 2 of the last 3 games. A midsummer signing by the club. Coach Matt LaFleur sung his praises yesterday.
He was all over the field, and he's wearing a lot of hats for us. He's obviously the guy communicating out there, but he's in all those different personnel groupings and has to fill multiple responsibilities. So we're lucky we have him. Definitely been productive, but he's also been a great asset to our locker room. I think he's certainly earned the respect of his teammates. That was a really great pickup for us.
Injury-wise, Packers still waiting to determine how to proceed with the shoulder injury to cornerback Jair Alexander. Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reported this morning the team trying to decide if Alexander can play with a shoulder brace, whether he just needs some time to heal, or if something more serious is necessary to fix it. LaFleur says he'll have an update tomorrow. Turning to the Badgers, Graham Mertz listed as questionable for Saturday's game at Illinois. However, the quarterback did practice yesterday, just 48 hours after being knocked out of the game against Michigan with a chest injury. Mertz said yesterday he wants to play.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Rural Mutual is the #1 farm insurer in Wisconsin for a good reason. As a company founded by farmers, they understand the ag industry and its challenges. Local agents offer farm families the best advice and personalized coverage. Visit ruralmutual.com to find an agent near you.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Brewers going to be on the field today for their first workout of the postseason. Then things get going Friday afternoon against Atlanta in the NLDS. First pitch slated for 3:37 on Friday, then 4:07 on Saturday. Best of 5 series. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Glad to have you back. Welcome back to the program, the Bill Michaels Show. Hour number 3 getting underway. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Always appreciate it. 877-867-1670 if you want to hit us up. You can always find the show over on YouTube, and you can even listen to it after the fact if you choose to do so. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show, and then on Twitch TV as well. You can always email the program. Always email the program. TheBillMichaels@gmail.com, TheBillMichaels@gmail.com. A couple of things. This one's from Steve, who says, hey, unit, best manager in Brewers history by far, Craig Counsell. Look what he's done. Also, postseason appearances have to count for something. Which I agree. We were talking about this earlier. Who's the best manager in Brewers history? Now, Arstead19 tweets and said, I think Counsell is just the luckiest. Which that opening statement is as dumb gets. That's no. Then he goes on to talk about the payroll. The only one that's ever had the payroll that is needed to compete. Garner and Treblehorn were both just as good, if not better, with less. Craig is average at best. Robin, Treblehorn, I can say was good because you look at his record, you look at the teams that he did a pretty good job. But Garner, no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Phil Garner's lifetime record is sub 500. That not only with the Brewers, but with the Tigers, with the Astros. He did win a pennant with the Astros. That I'll give you. But no. Won't go there. He with the Astros, he was 22 over 500 in 2004 when he took over. Had 89 wins in 2005, 82, and then only won 58 games in 2007. So as the Astros manager, I think he was 20 games over 500, something like that. But with the Tigers, he was 40 games under 500. With the Brewers, he was 40 games under 500. No. I would completely disagree there. 877-867-1670. If you disagree, give me a shout, but no. Tom Trebelhorn, by the way, was, I want to say 25 games over 500 with the Brewers for the teams that he had. I think he was 422 and 397 with a 515 winning percentage for the Brewers. He won 91, 87, 81, 74, and 83. Only 1 year was he sub 500. Trebelhorn, you can make an argument for. Never saw the postseason. But you can make an argument for Trebelhorn. But Garner, no. Nope, sorry. And I like Phil. Phil's a great guy, but no, I'm not going to give you that. Not at all. And in the whole payroll thing, the Brewers have increased their payroll. Yes, I'll agree with that. But when you're talking $250, $300 million some years, when you look at the likes of some of the other teams in the division that are spending upwards of 160, 170 million, and the Brewers are touching 100 million, 125 million, they have been able to find. Now, maybe you could get into the comparison of general managers over the years. Who's been the best general manager? Now, maybe you could look in that area, and certainly David Stearns and Matt Arnold this year have been fantastic for some of the pickups they found, specifically a guy like Adames, and bringing him in at the right time. You know, it's a fail on Jackie Bradley Jr., but they went out and spent the money. Colton Wong has been a real find as well. 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout. Really hard to know for sure. Hard to compare when the talent has been so much better recently when you want to talk about pitching. Okay, well, wait a minute, though. Wait a minute. In the modern era, they're not throwing complete games. It's been the management of the pitching and the bullpen and the homegrown talent. The talent came up through the system. Don't you give a manager credit for that? I mean, when you go back years and years and years with the Brewers, they were trying to buy talent, and they weren't bringing in good arms. They were trying to grow talent. They weren't finding good arms. But the system that they have now between the general manager, the president, and the head and the manager, isn't this the best system? Now they've committed. I mean, it's difficult to compare. I understand that, but I'm talking just in managerial wins, losses, postseason appearances for what they've been able to do. And back in the day of the American League, then, if you want to go to Trebelhorn, it was basically throw your best 9 out there, and then you had a DH. So how much managing goes into that other than pitching changes? So that's where I would beg to differ, because you're not going with double switches. You're not going with, well, whether or not the pitcher's going to bat or not bat coming up in the next inning, what you're going to do. You're not into all of that. Reason I could look and say, Cal's more in the National League than any manager does in the American League, because you know who your starting 9 are. You got your pitcher, your other 8 players, and then your DH. That's it. Throw them out there. You're not making double switches. You're not worrying about the pitcher batting in the next inning or anything like that. Right? Another reason that I would give Counsell the nod. 877-867-1670. Magoo says, you went back historically? ? You missed Hall of Fame manager Connie Mack, who was the Brewers manager from 1897 to 1900. Another Hall of Fame manager was Casey Stengel, who managed from the 1990 or 1944 Brewers. Yeah, I know they were different franchises, but they were both called the Milwaukee Brewers. Well, you said it yourself. They're different franchises. What the hell? You're going back to Connie Mack. First of all, when you look up Milwaukee Brewers franchise record history, it goes to 1969, starts with the Seattle Pilot, and moves forward. There's nothing at all in Baseball Reference that says, oh, by the way, don't forget about Connie Mack and Casey Stengel. No, it doesn't do that. You go to Baseball Reference, you look at the Milwaukee Brewers franchise history, there it is. That's it. Team record. Milwaukee Brewers team history and encyclopedia. 53 seasons. It doesn't go back beyond 1969. Just an FYI. So you go to Baseball Reference. That's it. 0 world championships. Now, the winningest manager in Brewers history because of longevity was Phil Garner, 563 wins. 563 wins. So there you go. 563 wins. By the way, next year will be the year that Craig Counsell surpasses Phil Garner. And Craig Counsell has a .525 winning percentage. Because Craig Counsell only needs what? 34 wins? And he will tie Phil Garner's record. He wins 34 games next year. He will tie Phil Garner's record. 35 will put him over the top. He will become the winningest manager in Milwaukee Brewers history. Just an FYI. The winningest manager in Milwaukee Brewers history. That'll be next year. And he will do it a year less of managerial experience for the Brewers. Phil Garner was there 8 years. Counsell is in his 7th year, so in the next year. But he will then beat that record easily, you would assume, of Phil Garner. And he will have far more postseason appearances. And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's Craig Counsell. Craig Counsell, the best manager in Brewers history. Darren says, the more I listen to you, Bill, it's CC hands down. Look at what he has done. It's a no-brainer in my opinion. That's why I'm kind of like, look, you can go back to Treblehorn. Treblehorn, yep. You can say comparison-wise, Treblehorn very much, he was a successful manager, only had one sub-500 year, yes. But again, going back in the eras of American League versus National League, there's more to do managerial-wise in the National League than there ever has been in the American League. Period. Hands down. 877. Hey, Ben, now you grew up in a household that likes the Red Sox, but yet you're a Phillies fan. You like National League or American League baseball more?
I'm a National League guy. I actually think the American League shouldn't even have a DH.
See, I agree.
And it's a take that everyone who casually likes baseball hates, but it takes away all of the strategy and honestly the beauty of seeing pitchers have to hold a bat. I love it.
I do too. And now part of it's because I'm biased and I grew up on it. And I know that, people in the Wisconsin or Brewers fandom area have had the taste of both. But when it comes to, like you said, the casual fan, the old grip it and rip it, home run, chicks dig the long ball, that type of thing, yeah, the American League style might be more appealing. But in the grand scheme of being mentally engaged in the game, I love the National League style of baseball. Always have, always will. I hope it never goes away, although it's trending in that direction because the Players Association wants more DHs because DHs are more valuable and therefore raising the basement of the salary structure. But I'm always going to be a fan of the National League style of baseball. There is an art to it. And I really believe, I really believe this. If you cannot bat, you are not a baseball player. If you cannot play the field, you are not a baseball player. You got to be able to do both. You may not be great at both, but you at least have to be assembled at both. But guys that can't play the field and they are a 110% liability, Big Papi over the years, he could grip it and rip it, no doubt about it. Put that guy in the field, he was okay at best. Especially towards the end of his career, he was a huge liability. You know, you look at some of these guys that just hung on as a DH for a long period of time, that if you put them in the field, they were just awful. I don't know how else to put it. They were just bad. Those guys were just placeholders for somebody that could have been out of the minor league system getting a job. And to me, that was wrong. But they were doing it because they had power numbers. That was the only reason. So I agree with you. I think that there's no way in hell that any player that cannot play both the field and be able to bat. And I want to see pitchers bat. I want to see pitchers. The art of dropping down. I'll never forget. I go back to, I think it was 1989, 1990. And Jose Rio pitched for the Cincinnati Reds. He used to get the pitchers together at the beginning of the season, and they would put money. Now, granted, in today's day and age, it's frowned upon, but they would put money into a pot and keep statistics of each other. Who would drop down a sacrifice bunt? Who would be able to hit behind a runner? Who would help themselves? Who would bring in a run? Who would take a walk? I mean, it compelled guys to be better when starting pitchers had to go to the plate. It compelled guys to be better, and it worked. Jose Rio became a decent hitter. I mean, a lot of those guys became decent hitters because they were forced to. And I think pitchers should be better ball players, not just better pitchers. And I know that's not a popular statement, but that's what I've always felt. You know, if you're a liability, then so be it. You're a liability to your team. You know, every time you walk to the plate, have your guys roll their eyes in the back of their head, but don't tell me you should get a DH. What you should get is a pitcher that can pitch and hit. And that, or at least attempt to get better at it. Now, the argument is from general managers that they don't want to risk their pitcher dropping down a bunt and breaking a finger on a bat. To me, I've always said, well, that's like saying that, you know, you should outlaw the shift. Don't outlaw the shift. Guys should just get better at hitting. If the shift is on and you don't have the ability to slow down your swing just a tad and drop the ball down either the right field or the left field line, or to at least put it in that vicinity to get yourself a hit to make a team play you honest, that's on you. Don't change the rules because you suck. Become a better player. Same thing with pitching. Same thing with pitchers that go to the plate. 877-867-1670. And this is an argument that's going to go on as long as time. This is one of those arguments, Ben, that if you're in a bar, you're buying another round of beers because you've talked so much, you get thirsty. That's the argument for whether or not there should be a DH in baseball. That's what that is.
The end of the argument should just be, who doesn't like seeing Jackie Bradley Jr. get walked so they could pitch to a hitter, or a pitcher, excuse me, who's a better hitter than him?
Correct.
It's beautiful.
Correct. I completely agree. It goes back to the argument. They would always, I would listen to him just bitch and moan in Chicago about the shift on for Schwarber. And I'm like, tell his big case of tank ass to be able to hit the ball in the opposite direction. Just throw the bat out there. That's it. Then you're done. They quit playing the shift, and then you start gripping it and ripping it all over again. That's my big argument to all of this. And Adam, you are 100% correct. One of the best hitting pitchers ever. Now, Woodruff can hit, but Brooks Kieschnick, you talk about a guy that would grip it and rip it. I loved watching Brooks Kieschnick go to the plate. That guy swung like his life. Like if he didn't get a hit, take it out of the ballpark, drive it through the outfield panels, that there were going to be burglars breaking into his house and molesting his cat. I mean, he gripped it and ripped it like his life depended on it every time he went to the plate. He was a pleasure to watch. More of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show. on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah.
What gives you a good feeling? I'll tell you what does. Winter, weather, it's howling, windy, cool, and yet inside the fire's crackling, the windows are tight, air's not leaking through, and you're safe, sound, and secure in that place at night when you put your head on your pillow. That is what is cool. And that is our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. They can give you that feeling. They can do that for you. Think about this. First of all, the 555 is not only back, but it's extended. What does that mean to you? 5 years, no interest, 5 months, no first payment. And if you call Pella Windows and Doors, although they do recommend you can always shop around too. You can look around and go, okay, I like this, I like that, I like this. And then you get to Pella and you're like, wow, they can match the woodwork into my home. Wow, they can let me choose all kinds of different hardware. Wow, these things are energy efficient. Wow, they add a bunch more money to my home than the other window companies. The value of my house just went up exponentially. Wow. Then you try them and the doors open, the windows crank open, the windows crank closed, the roll screens on the inside of the slider window, Wow, all of this is spectacular. That's our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. The 5 years, no interest, 5 months, no first payment. And if you order at the initial consultation, you can get 5% same-day order savings as well. And that can be a chunk of change, depending on how many windows and doors you put in, right? And you combine all of that with the survey that says they're the best. That's it. I can give you a quality. What is quality? Quality, okay, we got the highest quality. What the hell does that mean? You know? Bottom line is they're the best. They're the best. For your money, they're the best. Are they the most expensive? No. Are they the cheapest? No. They're the best. Period. For the money, the best. End of story. So why would you go anywhere else? We all want the best, right? We all want the best without having to pay the most, and that's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Just call them. 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA. 855-PELLA-WI. 855-PELLA-WI. Give us a shout. Call them. Call Gina Della from Pella, 855-PELLA-WI, or go to PELLAWI.com/radio, PELLAWI.com/radio. This was from Brett, who says, hands down, Craig Counsell, best manager in Brewers history. Now, the best player in Brewers history, we would have to argue. Is it still Robin Yount? Christian Yelich had a hell of a run, but the last 2 seasons have been down. We know that Ryan Braun was one of the best, but we know that he was also juicing. Paul Molitor had a great run here, but then he took his talents elsewhere. Some of the best pitchers we've ever seen are of recent watch. His Corbin Burns had one of the best seasons in Brewers history. A lot of historical references today on the program. Love talking baseball. Thanks so much. That's from Brett. Brett, appreciate it. You know what? I have no idea. I have no idea. I'd have to sit down and start comparing those numbers, but certainly what Corbin Burns has done this season has been just awesome. I mean, it's just nothing short of spectacular. Maybe one of the best closer role runs has been by Josh Hader because he's done it so consistently over the years. Because we've seen Brewers closers over time have a really good season or two and then just completely fall apart, where Josh Hader just consistently does it year after year after year. We can talk some Brewers, talk some Packers as well. If you want to chime in, by all means, give it to us, as the Packers off today, getting ready for the Cincinnati Bengals starting tomorrow. We'll have to find out what the injury report then becomes on Jair Alexander. I would say most likely he's definitely out for this game upcoming, but we'll hope that he's going to be okay, or at least be able to heal and therapeutically get past the injury of what is at least rumored to be the AC joint. 877-867-1670. Also, we're going to hear from Matt LaFleur coming up here shortly. Let's go to the phone calls, though. Mike listening to us in Rockford. Mike, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Hey, good, Bill. How you doing?
Doing great.
Down here in enemy territory. Listen, here's the deal. I got to laugh at what you said yesterday. I was laughing at this because all the Chicago media, you almost got to feel sorry for Bears fans. I mean, I'm a Chicago fan for all the other sports, but for Packers, I've always been a Packer fan growing up. But the Bears are a pathetic organization when it comes to, especially with their evaluating talent. I want to talk Packers, but I got to make one comment. And it was about what you said yesterday, that they're Superman, their quarterback, Justin Fields. I mean, this is hilarious. The guy hasn't even proven himself. I don't think he was that good of a quarterback, but I'm laughing because they're so desperate for a quarterback. It's pathetic down there. But, they're all saying how, Matt Nagy's an idiot because obviously he got fried on social, media, and the whole country was frying him before against when they played and got walloped by the Cleveland Browns. But I got to laugh because do you think that I want to talk Packers, but I'm just asking from the Bears standpoint, do you think that Fields has any talent?
I think he has some. I don't think he is what they think he is. Justin Fields, I thought, was a terrific college quarterback because of what they asked him to do. And that's a lot of ride and decide style of offense. I thought his delivery was too long and looping, not in the same comparison to Tim Tebow, but still, I thought similar. I also thought if you looked at him, he doesn't thread the needle nearly the way they expected him to. He had more receivers wide open because they had more athletic talent at Ohio State, but he can run with the football. The problem is running quarterbacks in the NFL last for a blip. They're 3-4-year quarterbacks, and then they're gone. So if you're hanging all your hopes for the future on Justin Fields, I think you're foolish.
And I got to say, Jim McMahon said it right last year. He said, Chicago's where quarterbacks go to die. I got to laugh at it. But let's talk more important here. Let's talk about the Packers defense, Bill. What concerns me is the fact that they always give up big plays. And I know that they got a new system. They got a new defensive coordinator this year. But they seem to always, I don't know, when you got number 12, you can outscore the other team. You're always good. But when they get to play these better teams with high, flying offenses like they're going to be facing, they got at least 3 or 4 games with teams that are going to, give them some trouble. I don't think the Packers have any trouble hitting the division. That's not going to be the problem. I'm worried about their defense going into the playoffs and just, and against these other opponents that have high scoring, very fast paced offenses. I just see it giving the Packers a lot of trouble. It doesn't, I don't know what it is. It doesn't seem like it matters who their defensive coordinator is. They always give up these big plays, and it came back to bite them in the hiney last year when they got to the NFC Championship. It wasn't, Aaron Rodgers. I would have done something different if I was Matt LaFleur. I wanted to kick the field goal.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to put that on Rodgers. But it was what they gave up going the other way. They gave up the big chunks of yard and allowed the Tampa Bay to win. So listen, I appreciate your time. Thanks.
No, thanks so much. Well, we're going to find out a lot this week. Now, granted, they may be doing it without a majority of their secondary, but Cincinnati is the 3rd best passing offense in the National Football League. I don't know if you realize that. They've got a 72.9% completion percentage. They do throw a lot of short yardage passes, but still, when it comes to their overall average, they're one of the top yards per pass attempt team that's out there. But Joe Burrow at times does throw it into some coverage, and they've had some wide receivers that have dropped the football and caused the football to fly through the air. They've got, I think, 4 picks this year already. But the quarterback rating for Joe Burrow is 113.8, and it's one of the best in the National Football League as well. And they've got 3 plays that have gone longer than 40 yards, but their coverage downfield, or the coverage downfield, not allowing teams enough time to really get to Joe Burrow, even though he's still one of the top 10 sacked quarterbacks in the National Football League with 11 so far this season. Their offensive line's still a little bit suspect, but he gets rid of the ball pretty quick, and they've got talented wide receivers. So the 3rd best passing offense in the National Football League is who they're going to face this week. And you may be doing it without Jair. We don't know about Kevin King yet. You're going to have Stokes, Shannon Sullivan, Yadam. Darnell Savage Jr. went down with an injury in this last game. We'll wait and hear about him. You've still got Adrian Amos back there, but you remember, out of all your starters in the secondary, Amos is the only guy that was your true starter coming into the season that's in the secondary. And if you don't get pass rush up front, which this is a more susceptible offensive line, but if you don't get it up front, Joe Burrow is good enough that he's going to make you pay for it. So it's a good test for the Packers coming into this weekend's game. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. We will hear more from Matt LaFleur coming up. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
5 years, no interest, Wayne Larrabee.
5 months, no first payment, Leroy Butler.
5 years, no interest.
5 months, no first payment.
Hey guys, why not both?
Gina Della from Pella?
Now, Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers you up to 5 years, no interest, 5 months, no first payment, plus up to 5% same-day order savings.
You mean?
Yep. 555's been extended through October 31st, so you can buy now and be all nice and cozy when those chilly winds blow. Plus, get up to 5% same-day order savings at your initial consultation.
You know, Leroy, I had Pella Lifestyle Series windows installed at the Larrabee house, and we just love them. No more drafts.
Pella windows are backed by some of the best warranties in the business.
Come on, guys. What do you say?
5 years, no interest, Leroy.
5 months, no first payment, Wayne.
Even up to 5% same-day order savings at your initial consultation. Only through October 31st. Set your free consultation now
at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Phil Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Phil Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
There is still time to do things before the cold weather gets here, and even after the fact. If you're looking to out into the wilderness, and you're getting a lot of great deals right now, a lot of the campsites around the state as the colors change, check out our friends at Cunis RV, Wisconsin's fastest growing RV dealer. They're your travel and camping experts, home of the big unit cruiser. And if you're in the market for a motorhome, a fifth wheel, a camper van, a travel trailer, Cunis RV, they got you covered. Jayco, Alliance, Coachman, Dutchman, Forest River, Nexus, which is what we have, Gulfstream, you name it, they've got them all. Stop in at one of their many locations. Right now, you can take advantage of still some of the deals left over from the summer season and low APR financing on the most models right now. And they're also offering top dollar for your trade-ins. And if you've got an RV or a motorhome or a fifth wheel or a camper van or whatever, they're offering consignment. If you're within 50 miles of one of their 9 dealerships in Wisconsin and also the one in Northern Illinois, they'll come and pick it up for free, put it on their lot. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to schedule appointments and be home at a certain time for somebody to show up and kick the tires or not show up and waste your time. All you got to do is call our friends at Cunis RV. Go to CunisRV.com. That is Cunis, Kunes. CunisRV.com. Like I said, Wisconsin's fastest growing RV dealer. CunisRV.com. That is Kunes, Kunes. CunisRV.com. You have got a plethora of injuries right now. Bakhtiari's still out. Elton Jenkins is still out. Zadarius Smith has now had back surgery. We don't know how much longer he's going to be out, if at all, the rest of the season. Jair has gone down. You've had players that have been banged up and have come back. You had really, over the last couple of years, you had a pretty injury-free team. And it seems like now you've got a lot of this kind of catching up with the Packers. Sometimes it's, I've always said you got to be good, you got to be lucky, you got to be healthy, and you got to be hot. Sometimes luck and health go hand in hand. And if a guy falls on you one way, maybe you're moving that way and he buckles your leg forward and you're fine. If a guy falls on you from the side, he knocks your knee sideways and suddenly you've got a torn or sprained MCL or ACL and you're out for 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, just who knows? But it seems like right now you've got a lot of injuries that are significant and slowly depleting this Green Bay Packers team. Marquez Valdes-Scantling being another one that has gone down. I didn't even mention him early on. But there's a lot of thought of how many more injuries can this Packers team sustain. Like I said, Bakhtiari, he's scheduled to come back at some point. Jair, Zadarius, Elton Jenkins, MVS, Kevin King. You start to go through that list. These are all starters that have gone down. How much more can this Packers team sustain? Talking about Jair's injury specifically, Matt LaFleur yesterday had this to say specifically about Jair.
Yeah, no, it's everything's kind of getting looked at right now.
Is it a shoulder or a collarbone?
Yeah, it's a shoulder.
It's a shoulder. It's not a collarbone, which would lead you to believe it's the AC joint, as originally reported. You do the X-rays. No break in the collarbone. Whew, thank God. Okay, AC joint separation, non-separation, hyperextension. What is it? Was it a tear? Is there a tear in the joint somewhere in the labrum? Something like that maybe it has to be looked at. I mean, did something like that happen? So they're looking for more opinions on all of that. And you hope that whatever it is, put it this way, whatever it is, most likely he's going to have to play with the harness. And the harness sucks. It changes your movement and your limitation. It's there to prevent that shoulder or AC joint from popping again. But it also limits your motion, your hand checking, your ability downfield, because it keeps your arm in a certain in a certain angle. It doesn't allow it to go back far. It doesn't allow it to go up real high. So some of the ability to hand play downfield. I mean, Charles Woodson played with one, hated it. Said it just takes away a lot. You still have your wheels. You still have your ability to run, and you can run with it on. But your ability to kind of hand fight downfield, it really does limit your capability. So 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, by all means, hit us up. But Jair, the latest All-Pro to go down, and it just in a year in which you're trying to kind of do this is one of the reasons I also say you every year you got to push those chips to the middle of the table. You just never know when you're going to be good, because luck and health have such a dramatic impact on your season. And you just got to be able to get past it. And hopefully the Packers can just sustain long enough for these, entities to come back, all these different players. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, feel free to do it. Again, 877-867-1670. When we come back, I want to know if you got a problem with this. If you got a problem with this. When you talk about the overreactions to Week 4 in the National Football League, there is one coach that is catching a lot of ire. And I'm not talking about Urban Meyer, because he was doing the bump and grind nasty and the reach around grab on some girl in a bar in Columbus, Ohio. I'm going to tell you what coach, and you tell me if it's worthy of getting upset over. Okay, because this is the long-time argument in the National Football League about whether or not you've got a game salted away and what are you doing, and whether you're throwing, whether you're running, whether you're playing hard, whether you're not. And players, for the most part, will tell you, you don't want us to do something, stop us. But one coach is catching some grief coming out of yesterday's pressers, and we'll tell you who when we come back. Stay tuned. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers are determining what's next for defensive back Jair Alexander, who suffered a severe shoulder injury against the Steelers. Head coach Matt LaFleur says Jair's MRI being reviewed by several specialists.
Well, we're still kind of getting all the opinions, but I'll have an update for you guys on Wednesday.
Up next, the Packers head to Cincinnati to face the Bengals, who have beat the Vikings, the Steelers, and the Jaguars to go to 3-1. The only loss they had was against the Bears at Soldier Field, week 2 by a final score of 20-17. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow.
Obviously, we had the one setback that we didn't play very well in Chicago, but we've played pretty well the other 3 games. So we're just going to keep building on it and get a head start on Green Bay.
Bengals head coach Zach Taylor worked alongside Matt LaFleur together for a year under Sean McVay at the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, really detailed, just consumes tape and understands and can recall every look. And rarely did you ever want to get an argument with Matt about something that was on tape because he was always right. He's just a tremendous person. He and I became really close friends over that year we were together. I remember I was at Disneyland when he called me to tell me he was going to Tennessee, and I couldn't believe it, after 1 year, but it was just a great opportunity for him. So I've always pulled for Matt. I won't be pulling for him this week, but we've always stayed close and just love the way he goes about his business and treats people.
That's Bengals head coach Zach Taylor. In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
You got to hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket. Hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket. Hit it, bang it, rock it, put
If you go put anything in your pocket, it's going to be something good from Quick Trip. I'll tell you that right now. Longtime sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network, the official fuel and convenience store. And it's damn near every day that I'm in there. And I'm going there again today. You know why? I'm heading out to Madison after the show and some meetings. And I'm a little bit low on gas. And whenever I go there, I fill up and I get what I need to get me out and back. Usually one of those big, giant Arizona sweet teas. But whatever's hot and good, I can't say enough about their fried chicken. Holy mackerel, is that stuff good. But Quick Trip, whether it's bread, milk, eggs, bananas, or you're going in there for some kind of specialty like their mushroom and Swiss burger, spicy chicken sandwich, pothole pizza, or maybe you're going to the beer cave and enjoying an adult beverage or anything else for that matter, they got everything good over there. Everything good. That's our friends over there at Quick Trip. Thanks to them for being a part of the program. Long time. And good stuff. We just got done talking about this. Tom Silverstein of the Journal Sentinel. He said, bottom line for the Packers cornerback Jair Alexander, according to a source, can he play safely with a shoulder harness, or does he need some time to just let it heal, or is this something longer term? That's why the injury is being looked at by multiple specialists. The Packers need to get this right. He's right. And that's exactly what I was saying. Usually it's not just, Doc McKenzie's seen a lot of this, but when it comes to what the gray area is, you get as many opinions as you can. And I hated to say it, but I've been doing this a long time. When they start seeking specialists, it's not a 1 or 2 week thing. So get ready for Jair to be out 3-4 weeks, maybe. Something to that extent, or did they just shut him down until he's better for the season, surgery, whatever it is. There's one coach that has received a lot of them, the Baltimore Ravens. So it was the Ravens on Sunday when Lamar Jackson, he threw the ball really well for the offense. It needed more of that dimension and allowed Baltimore to tie Pittsburgh and the Steelers' record established back in 1974 through 77 for the most consecutive regular season games with triple-digit yards on the ground. They are competitive in the division with the Steelers. Okay? And so what I'm saying is, it was a play where they'd already wrapped the game up, okay? Harbaugh called a running play on the Ravens' last snap, despite having a 16-point advantage. I mean, all they had to do was take a knee. But instead, he ran quarterback Lamar Jackson for 5 yards around the left side as time ran out. Again, all you got to do is take a knee. Game's over. Take a knee, game's over. But instead, he wanted that record, again, established by the Steelers, their rival, from 1974 through 77, for the most consecutive regular season games, which is 43, with triple-digit yards on the ground. So in other words, overall, they rushed for 100 yards per. So he called a running play. Vic Fangio says, head coach of the Broncos, it's BS, and use the actual terminology. But Harbaugh getting ripped for this by many. Now, the argument is Lamar Jackson, because it was surprising to the Broncos defense that they did this, Jackson probably could have kept running. So to Jackson's credit, he knew what he needed, and after 5 yards went down. But they did it kind of in a cheap way to get the extra 5 yards to beat the record for the Steelers. Should John Harbaugh be criticized for this? I personally, it's cheap. It's kind of like the Michael Strahan getting the last sack on Brett Favre to put him over for the season record. Everybody's going to remember that because Favre kind of laid down. Favre knew what it was. And Favre could have taken off. Favre could have made it difficult. Favre could have ultimately went down with a sack. Who knows? He could have thrown it away, whatever. But we all know it's there. So every time somebody talks about the single season sack record, they kind of go, yeah, well, the last one you got was Favre rolling over into the fetal position, So is it real? Well, it doesn't diminish the work you did throughout the game or throughout the season. But again, it's cheapened. So if I'm Harbaugh, look, I don't have a problem doing it. My franchise will forever be in the record books until somebody else comes along. I took it away from one of my division rivals who I've gone head-to-head with for year after year after year after year. Then again, is that a little bit disrespectful to the rival? You technically weren't able to do that within the confines of the game, within the sportsmanship of the game, should you have done it. So, I mean, to me, if I'm the head coach, if I'm Harbaugh, you do it, that's fine. But it's somewhat demeaning. And it lessens you a little bit. And that's what Fangio's saying. Fangio's like, look, in my 37 years of coaching, I've never seen anything like this where somebody had to run for 5 yards to get a record. And they did it in a game in which there was 5 seconds on the clock. And instead of just taking a knee, they took off running. And that's crap. And to get the record like that against Denver, and Denver might have known that going in, that this is what they do. And we're going to hold them under 100 yards. And, and then Denver's taking pride in what they did, only for, the Baltimore Ravens and Harbaugh to do that. So look, there's no winner in any of this, but in my opinion, it cheapens the record. It cheapens the head coach. It cheapens the effort of one, your run game, and two, it's a little disrespectful to the defense that had fought so hard for the entire game to keep you under 100 yards. Not a good look, I guess. You got the record. That's great. And if that's your franchise and you're a Ravens fan, you're probably praising Harbaugh today, going, all right, we took one away from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'd understand that too. But it does cheapen things. We got another hour yet to go. We're going to hear from Matt LaFleur from yesterday addressing the media, and they're going to be getting ready tomorrow for the Cincinnati Bengals. We got a lot more. We also have baseball wild card coming up tonight Yankees on the road in Boston to take on the Red Sox. A lot of good stuff yet to come. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers getting the day off for practice as they look forward to this Sunday's game against Cincinnati. Among a number of bright spots in the team's 3-1 start has been linebacker Devondre Campbell. He has led the team in tackles each of the last 2 weeks and created turnovers in 2 of the last 3 games. A midsummer signing by the club. Coach Matt LaFleur sung his praises yesterday.
He was all over the field, and he's wearing a lot of hats for us. He's obviously the guy communicating out there, but he's in all those different personnel groupings and has to fill multiple responsibilities. So we're lucky we have him. Definitely been productive, but he's also been a great asset to our locker room. I think he's certainly earned the respect of his teammates. That was a really great pickup for us.
Injury-wise, Packers still waiting to determine the shoulder injury to cornerback Jair Alexander. Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reported this morning the team trying to decide if Alexander can play with a shoulder brace, whether he just needs some time to heal or if something more serious is necessary to fix it. LaFleur says he'll have an update tomorrow. Turning to the Badgers, Graham Mertz listed as questionable for Saturday's game at Illinois. However, the quarterback did practice yesterday, just 48 hours after being knocked out of the game against Michigan with a chest injury. Mertz said yesterday he wants to play.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Well, the Brewers going to be on the field today for their first workout of the postseason. Then things get going Friday afternoon against Atlanta in the NLDS. First pitch slated for 3:37 on Friday, then 4:07 on Saturday. Best of 5 series. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil. Print.
Hour number 4 of the Bill Michaels Show. I can't wait for tonight. I'll be honest. I got some meetings out in Madison I'm going to run to and do a few things there. I'm going to come back home tonight. I don't know what the fare is this evening, but we've got postseason baseball. I've been waiting for this. We got postseason baseball tonight. We got postseason baseball tomorrow. We've got Thursday night football. Then we've got Brewers playoff baseball and playoff baseball being played. 4 games on Friday. You've got college football, postseason baseball coming up. You've got Bucks basketball. Bucks are in Memphis tonight. You've got Packers coming up on Sunday. By the way, the Packers taking on Cincinnati. Cincinnati, believe it or not, leads the series. The Bengals are 7-6, and they've won 3 of the last 4 meetings. The Packers won the most recent one. That was at Lambeau Field, 27-24. But as the home team, Cincinnati is 4-1 against Green Bay, and they are 2-0 at Paul Brown Stadium, and 2-1 going back to Riverfront/Synergy Field as the home team. So there you go. The Packers have never won at Paul Brown Stadium. The one loss they took was a terrible game. It was Brett Favre and company, and that was when the fan jumped onto the field and took the ball from Brett Favre. And then the last game was a game in which Eddie Lacy was coming back from injury, and they had somewhat of a depleted defense. But early in the game, Dunlap and Sampson were just all over the field. They were all over Aaron Rodgers, harassing the hell out of him. They had all kinds of trouble containing with Mike Zimmer, the head coach of the Vikings at the time. All kinds of trouble protecting Aaron Rodgers. But Clay Matthews was a one-man wrecking crew in that game. And he was just everywhere and keeping it close. And then as Puxatawny Phil comes out every year and looks for his shadow, Clay Matthews pulled a hamstring. And that was it. After that, Packers were done. And that was actually, there was a blow up on the sideline between Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy the last time the Packers were in Cincinnati. So remember, just prior to that was the throwing of the, or kicking of the red flag up in Detroit when McCarthy threw a challenge flag out and the Packers were outages, and Rodgers knew it and kicked the flag and got pissed off at McCarthy. And then there was an argument over play calling in Cincinnati where that was towards the end of the tenure, so to speak, when Aaron Rodgers started kind of a yelling match on the sideline with Mike McCarthy. So it's not been a great place to go. And now you're waiting to find out about Jair Alexander, whether or not he can play with a harness, whether or not it's going to take some time or more, meaning surgery. And if that's the case, his season's over. So we'll find out. And we should, as Matt LaFleur stated, we should know tomorrow. We'll find out. 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, feel free to do so. By the way, we were talking about John Harbaugh before, and Vic Fangio saying it was BS. John Harbaugh says, I don't know that there's a 16-point touchdown that's going to be possible right there, meaning at the end of the game. So we didn't have anything to do with winning that. So that didn't have anything to do with winning the game, which is kind of a BS answer, but it's Harbaugh. It is what it is. It is what it is. By the way, Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, and Lindsey Zarniak are going to be on the call from Cincinnati on Fox. That is not a highly thought of game, and it should be. Cincinnati's gotten better. The Packers obviously bring in a lot of wherewithal. It should be. I'm not saying it's a terrible broadcast crew, but yeah, they're not giving the Cincinnati Bengals much respect. Packers get it, but Cincinnati's not getting a lot of respect. Just an FYI. I find that a little interesting. You got a good game coming up on Thursday night, by the way. The Rams on the road taking on the Seahawks. The game that's probably going to be the number one game for Fox coming up on Sunday. The Cowboys are hosting the Giants. Anytime you get that rivalry, that's going to be good. You've got the Cardinals hosting the 49ers. That'll be a good game. The CBS game, the Browns and Chargers, most likely going to get a highly rated game. So that's the reason you're getting kind of the C team, so to speak, for the Bengals and the Packers coming up this weekend. Matt LaFleur, that's a long dissertation there, but you get it. Matt LaFleur talks about, first and foremost, the cornerback Jair Alexander and the shoulder injury.
Well, we're still kind of getting all the opinions, but I'll have an update for you guys on Wednesday. And
then Ladarius Smith, is he going to be? He's had back surgery now. After that bad back has given him so much problems. So do they even expect him back at all this season?
Well, I hope so, but I don't really know. What a lot of it just depends how you heal, and certainly we're hopeful, but that's a ways away.
So then it goes back to Jair and the Q&A with the media back and forth about, is this, or can you at least rule this out, whether or not this is or isn't a season-ending injury for Jair Alexander?
Yeah, no, it's everything's kind of getting looked at right now.
Is it indeed a shoulder or a collarbone?
Yeah, it's a shoulder.
It's a shoulder. It's not the collarbone. It's the shoulder. Then you go to the positive side of things, and that is one of the players defensively that's been so good and a good pickup, Devondre Campbell, and his performance.
He was all over the field, and he's wearing a lot of hats for us. He's obviously the guy communicating out there, but he's in all those different personnel groupings and has to fill multiple responsibilities. So we're lucky we have him. He's definitely been productive, but he's also been a great asset to our locker. He's certainly earned the teammate. just really, that was a really great pickup for us.
So the other area of controversy was the blocked field goal that wasn't because of the offsides call. Matt LaFleur was asked about that in that field goal attempt and what he saw.
Yeah, there's a lot to clean up there. Certainly, they got a really good jump on our jumping off the hand of our holder. So we got to do a better job of kind of burying our snap counts, but also I think we can clean up some stuff in terms of just our alignments up front and how we go about that. So we'll have a plan for that this week.
At least if you get a better chip block on some of these guys, it gives you that extra half second. But you've had a couple of guys in back-to-back weeks now running free. And in one case, because of the offsides, they did get, hand on the ball. And then that kick in San Francisco was almost blocked as well. So you really start to you got to take just because it's come out on the positive side doesn't mean you don't have issues. So they've got to fix that. Then there's Aaron Rodgers, and he was asked about, catching Pittsburgh with 12 men on the field for that free play.
There's nothing like a free play. Then you can take a chance down the field and, over the course of his career, but certainly in my time here, we've capitalized on a lot of those situations. So that's something that we're always trying to, look for. And it was frustrating because there were a couple times where we thought potentially we could get them, but it was kind of chaotic a little bit in terms of, did they have 10? Did they have 12? Was there, because there were so many guys running on and off. I think it was hard to really decipher how many guys were on the field.
And then one of the bigger plays of the game as well, Packers couldn't get out of there deep in their own territory. They needed a big punt. And Bojorquez, a 57-yarder, but not only a 57-yard punt, but it was a fair catch because it was so high on hang time, and he talks about that.
That was unbelievable to flip the field like that. It was what a great punt. A great job by Malik Taylor beating his man as the gunner, forcing that fair catch. But, yeah, that was just great protection in that situation because they were coming after us, and just all 11 did their job at a really high level.
Noted Malik Taylor, and that's not even something we discussed during the postgame show, but Malik Taylor, as he beat his man as the gunner to get down there and make sure that was fair caught. An impressive performance all around. A.J. Dillon getting the call more so when it came to the ground and pound against the Steelers than Aaron Jones. He talked about improving the run attack.
Both those guys had some really good runs, and there were a couple runs that Aaron had where it was just not blocked very well, and he was able to get positive yards out of. So both of those guys are equally as important to this offense, and certainly some of the things that they both did out of the backfield as well. I mean, we had Aaron lined up in the empty formations. He had a couple catches in those situations. AJ caught that flat route for like 16 yards on the left side or whatever, or to our left side. But both those guys did a great job.
He was also asked about Eric Stokes. And by the way, going back to what he said about Aaron Jones had a couple of times where there was nothing there. And I even noted it in Twitter during the game that he made 2 and 3 yards. I mean, there was a couple of times he was stopped 4 yards short of the line of scrimmage, and he still was able to squirt free and pick up 1 or 2 yards. It wasn't a big gainer, don't get me wrong, but it was a 6-yard swing that could have had a different detrimental effect on the team. So he's absolutely right in noting that. He was also asked about the corner, Eric Stokes, who had to come in and play for Kevin King, and how much his play has improved through the first 4 games of the season.
It's hard to say. I just think that the more he plays, the better he's going to get. He gets used to seeing how guys run routes, and certainly there's a lot to improve upon as well. I think, one thing that kind of stood out today is just when he's got to trust himself. when he's got an opportunity, whether they throw a short pass in front of him, to when he triggers, go for it. And there are a couple times you could see, I think he slipped early in the game, and he may have been a little hesitant to go kind of, just trigger on some of those throws. But I thought there was more opportunity there to really limit the yak that these receivers got after catching the ball.
Now, I am a big, and I've been asked this a couple of times because they say, well, this is the reason you don't have defensive backs go after running backs or big tight ends or what have you. Look, it's a freak thing that happened to Jair Alexander. He's a smaller guy, plays physical. I love it. Darnell Savage, I love it. Adrian Amos, I love it. I love it when guys that are in the secondary play physical. Okay. This is part of the risk. I don't think there's there's not much of a way to diminish the risk. A lot of the times they'll say this is the reason they want you just to throw your body out there and trip a guy up rather than wrap him up. But more often than not, you allow extra yards or a guy to get past you, and therefore he has to be drugged down from behind. So despite his short size, Jair Alexander, still a physical defensive back, and I really like that. But do they avoid having him line up inside to prevent some of these types of injuries?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you can play Ja pretty much anywhere, but I wouldn't say his stature, necessarily, dissuades us from putting him inside. It's just more, what do you want to get out of him? Certainly, he's a guy that I think most offenses are afraid to throw at. Certainly, they got us on the deep ball yesterday. That may or may not have been a little bit of a push off, but that happens. But no, Ja, we feel like we can put Ja anywhere, and we know we're going to have a great player on the field.
So now, yesterday we know that he's getting more evaluation. Today, kind of the same. What is the exact process between yesterday, today, going into tomorrow to evaluate Jair Alexander?
Yeah, so I talked to Flea and Doc McKenzie. They're just getting some other opinions on, how to proceed, I guess, is the best way for me to say it right now.
He's a really important player to you.
Yeah, absolutely. He is. I mean, he's a Pro Bowler. He's a captain. So you can never have enough great players out there. And right now we've got a few of our stud players on the bench due to injury.
Did the Packers defense catch a break when Roethlisberger missed wide open receiver Juju Smith-Schuster?
Yeah, I think you can look at that really in all three phases. I don't think by any means we played our best football game. And that's always a positive when you come out with a win and you don't play your best. But certainly offensively, there was some things that we usually execute much better. There was some bad play calls. We talked about the special teams, some of the things that we can do better. And then defensively, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of room for growth there. I think just you don't want to rely on the opposition not executing. You want to make sure that you got everybody in the right position and are playing the right responsibilities, and you're not put in a position where you could give up those big plays. So I would say really in all three phases, there's stuff that we have to coach better, and then stuff that we have to take onto the field and execute much better.
When we come back, we'll talk about options for that secondary and what Matt LaFleur's thought process is for what they may or may not do. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at New Male Medical, treating guys with ED, erectile dysfunction, all over Wisconsin and the surrounding areas. One phone number, 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451. It works. I get it all the time. People ask me all the time, does it really work? It does. If you have ED, no problem. But I had low T. And when it came to energy and the stability of mood and all that kind of stuff, that's what I was kind of going through. And then I got in there and I'm like, look, tired all the time, midday, just worn out. And they helped me out with that. The all-in-one weight loss program, that works as well. All you got to do is call. But you can't lose weight. You can't feel better. You can't get more energy. You can't lose some of the gut. And you can't make things happen in a certain room of the house if you don't call. Call them, 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451. That's the New Medical Center. Stay tuned. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. We're going to hear what they're going to do in the secondary if Jair is out for an extended period of time, coming up next in the Bill Michaels Show.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
How we looking? Bill Michaels Show continuing on. This is from Justin, who says, "Hey Bill, do you know what this month's special is at the Four Seasons? Thinking about taking the wife there this weekend on the UTV for our 12-year anniversary." I don't, but get a hold of Barb. This is what you do, Justin. Email Barb, B-A-R-B, at pinemountainresort.com. Tell her I sent you. And tell her what you just did for over here on the Bud Light live stream, and that we sent you over there and to get you something. Just ask for whatever the special is. Tell her you heard it here, and have a great. And by the way, let me know what they give you, if anything. Okay, let me know if they give you something special for the anniversary, and then taking the wife UTVing for your anniversary. My assumption is that's what you guys do. I don't think anybody wakes up on their 12-year anniversary of marriage and go, you know what? I'm going to take her out on the muddy trails. Let's do that. Unless maybe she's an adventure girl. Who knows? But they've got a restaurant there, and tub, go four-wheeling, UTV, either place, Four Seasons or Pine Mountain Reach. Great people, great place. By all means, tell them we sent you, and get a hold of Barb up there as well. So getting back to the conversation, Jair Alexander, I would assume he's not going to be back this week or any week in the next couple of weeks. But what do they do? What are the options now to replace him, and what are the options now with your secondary?
Sure. Yeah. No, it's. I think that's something that we'll definitely have a plan for. But we're just kind of in that holding pattern until we find out what's really wrong with Ja.
In other words, we're not telling you. We're not telling you. Adam Stenavich and Luke Butkus. Let's pause from the defense for a minute here. The offensive line without David Bakhtiari, and we thought, you know what, Bakhtiari's not going to be back. You cannot afford to have Elton Jenkins go down, right? No, we can't. We can all raise our hands and agree on that. And then he went down. And then you're like, who are you going to put in there? Holy crap. And suddenly Yosh Nijman gets the call. And John Runyon's in there. And Myers is a rookie starting. Royce Newman is a rookie starting. And you're like, wait, what? So what is so unique about Stenavich and Butkus?
I just think that, number one, they definitely care about the guys. And I think the guys realize that. I think they just have a great way they got great minds. And they're great teachers. They can communicate and articulate the information so that it resonates with our guys. And I think they do a great job with just making sure that they're how we drill. It carries over to the game. And I think you see our guys continuously improve up front. So I just think they're great. They're great ball coaches. They're great people. And, we're really lucky to have those two guys.
Now, defensively, going back to the defense for a minute, we talked a lot about the secondary, a lot about Jair Alexander's injury, but the run defense has been better. The trenches have been better. So talk about the Packers defense and how it's improved, run defensively specifically, against the 49ers and the Steelers.
Yeah, I think we've done a great job. I think just all really across the board, our team is playing with really good effort, really good urgency. We're playing tough and physical. And quite frankly, I think sometimes that allows you to cover up some areas where you may have made a mistake. If you got everybody hustling, and we're going to keep preaching that. And our guys have taken that to heart. And I still think there's room for improvement there as well. So by no means are we a finished product. We got to continue to get better and better and better each and every week.
So going back to Stenavich and company for a minute, Aaron Rodgers had stated that he could see Adam Stenavich as possibly a head coach or offensive coordinator someday in the NFL. And Matt LaFleur was asked about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, there's no limit for him. I mean, he can reach the pinnacle, no doubt about it. I think he's just got a great mind. He's got a great work ethic. I think my job is to try to empower those guys and put them in positions where, they can take that next step. And I think he does a great job of, implementing our run plan along with Hackett and Justin Outen and Butkus. They all collectively kind of get together and lay out a great run plan each and every week. But all those guys are just great people and great coaches.
Billy Turner. Now we know TJ Watt bounces around. Billy Turner and Yosh Nijman, yeoman's work. So how did Billy Turner perform against TJ Watt?
Yeah, I thought Billy was outstanding. He graded out the highest up front. So I thought he had a great day. And, Billy's another guy that just the energy that he brings, he's such a pro. I think he's just such a great example for everybody on our football team to watch about how he goes about his business. He's always there in pre-practice, getting extra work in with Gray and working on his sets, his punches, and just he does a great job.
So the offensive line itself, 3 sacks for Aaron Rodgers. So how did everything grade out against the Steelers?
Yeah, I don't even pay attention to who gave up those sacks. I mean, we have our own criteria. I don't care what PFF says or, people that don't know what we're trying to get done. I mean, sometimes, linemen will get called for a sack when maybe the ball should have been released. And I'm not saying that's what happened on that particular instance, but I'm just using that as an example of sometimes we put them on the quarterback. Sometimes it's the running back doesn't pick up a blitz. Sometimes there's a miscommunication, like the first sack we gave up. There was a miscommunication up front. I don't know who they put that on, but so I don't even know what the outside people say. All I know is who we put the sacks on.
Elton Jenkins, Kevin King, both guys have been out. Kevin King with the concussion, Elton Jenkins with the ankle. Are they going to be able to come back?
Yeah, both of those guys were certainly hopeful to get back, but I don't have any update right now. If we had a practice day, neither one of them would be available.
And there you go. And then last but not least was the question that I had. You're running the ball effectively. 4, 5, 6 yards consecutively with A.J. Dillon to close the game out. Why in the hell did you start throwing the football?
Certainly, yeah. You can second guess everything. We were pounding the ball pretty well. We thought the play was set up, and we didn't make the play. So, but yeah, no, I think we're going to continue to be aggressive, and that just tells you how much faith we have in the guys out there to go out there and execute. And certainly, when it doesn't work out the way you want it to, you can always go back and look at it and be like, "Oh, should have just kept running the football." But we didn't. We'll learn from that, and hopefully we'll be better.
You know what he just said there, right? Let's do this. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back, and I'll tell you exactly what he just said. We'll play that again, but it's pretty obvious. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Hey, don't forget, coming up this week, Thursday night, we're going to be at Three Lions Pub on Oakland, and that is in Milwaukee for the Bill Michaels Huddle coming up Thursday night, 6 to 8. And you can see it on many of these same stations. Find it on our YouTube channel as well. You can subscribe for free. Simply go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show, and you can witness the show right then and there. Listen to it. Also, don't forget about the Wisconsin Sports Zone app. You can download that, Wisconsin Sports Zone, and you can do that as well. So thanks to everybody for being patient and streaming the show and watching the show and such. Matt LaFleur had this to say, and do you understand what he's saying here? When he was asked, Matt, hey, you were running the ball. You ran it for 4 yards, 5 yards, and 6 yards consecutively. They couldn't stop you. You're ground and pounding it. You're ready to seal the deal with the game. They cannot stop A.J. Dillon. Why in the world did you turn it around and go 3 straight passes? This was his answer.
Certainly, yeah. You can second guess everything. We were pounding the ball pretty well. We thought the play was set up, and we didn't make the play. So, but yeah, no, I think we're going to continue to be aggressive, and that just tells you how much faith we have in the guys out there to go out there and execute. And certainly when it doesn't work out the way you want it to, you can always go back and look at it and be like, oh, should have just kept running the football. But we didn't. We'll learn from that, and hopefully we'll be better.
Do you know what he just said, Ben? Do you know what Matt LaFleur just said in that dissertation?
I have the perfect drop for it, but
He said we. When he says
Aaron
we,
Rodgers.
you know what he's talking about, right?
You, Aaron Rodgers.
Yes. That's what he's talking about. It basically, hey, yeah, sure you can second guess. He never said, well, I thought this was set up. He never did that. Aaron Rodgers threw 3 straight times. It didn't work. I said that Sunday night. That's just out of character for Matt LaFleur to go into that play call when you're doing so well and you want to seal the deal. You want to close it out. I told you. Sometimes, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a tremendous quarterback, but to sit there and blame that on Matt LaFleur, that wasn't Matt LaFleur. I'm not criticizing Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers wants the ball. He's your MVP. He's the guy that, more often than not is going to be successful. But in that particular situation, you questioned, as Mike Clemens talked to us during the postgame show. People in the press box are like, why are you throwing the ball 3 straight times? They can't stop you. Their defensive front is gassed. And you're throwing it? That's why. He didn't say, I saw something. I did this. I did. It's we. Yeah, we sure you can second guess us. We thought that it would work. And no. You said it without saying it. It was your quarterback. Threw it 3 straight times. I just found it extremely interesting. Look, Matt LaFleur didn't throw him under the bus. He protected his guy, but I'm sure when Aaron came off the field, he went, hey, Aaron, what the hell? We had so much success running the football with AJ. Why? I can see throwing it once. Or maybe you get a matchup and you can see it, but 3 straight times. 3 straight times and out? When you're trying to clock the game? Nah, come on. Come on. You let them, you gave them life and you didn't need to. It all worked out. Don't worry about it. But somewhere down the line, that could end up hurting you. But I was waiting for that answer. And I wanted to see if Matt LaFleur was ever going to say, I chose this. I chose that. I saw this. And he never did. So we know. We know what happened. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to, give us a shout, you can. This was from Elizabeth, who says, Craig Counsell is the best manager in Brewers history, hands down. No other manager has been able to take his team 4 straight times to the postseason. Give Craig all the credit in the world for what he has to deal with and the way he has to manage, and also manage the arms of the pen along the way. And he's got a player that was really stupid that hurt his team, and now he's going to have to manage around that as well. Again, that goes back to our argument in the beginning of the show about who is the best manager in Brewers history. And I think it's Counsell, but some may have a different opinion. Kung Fu Kenny says, we know it's Aaron Rodgers who wants to throw the ball, clock the game. He wants to prove it his way. These are the things that can be so maddening about the quarterback. Again, I'm not overwhelmingly pissed. It's just one of those things that it was so obvious. That's all. Mara says, after listening to the cuts of Paul Chryst, do you think that he has a chat with McIntosh about his post-game press conferences? No. You're not going to tell a coach what to say. No, not at all. I think, again, I think when it comes to Paul Chryst, I'm going to leave it in the category of he doesn't have a lot of answers right now. I mean, you can look at things and say, yeah, this guy's getting beat, that guy's getting beat, but you can only change things in the course of technical. You can have them get lower pad level. You can have them drop step. You can have them get arms up underneath, hang on a little bit harder to see if you get called for it, for holding, with your offensive lineman. You can only scheme so much. And afterwards, it's up to the guy, to the heart, to the intensity, to the want of the people that are actually on the field. You can only put guys in position. Now, maybe Paul Chris can say, okay, I'm not coaching to my team's strengths. I mean, that's certainly something you can look at. But when you're a coach and you believe that your team is this level of good, and then once you get into real game situations and they're not, and they're just getting beat physically, you can't change physicality. You have to scheme for technical. And if they're not capable of handing off technical, well, then you're done. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. And that's where Paul Chris sounds flustered, if you will. He sounds like he's just, he's not going to throw his guys under the bus, but he just doesn't have an answer right now. You just got to hope that you get healthy against Illinois, that you get healthy against Army, things begin to turn around, you get a level of confidence, you started to see your quarterback play well or better before he goes down with injury. You get all your pieces back and things begin to flow. And then you build off of this season and move it into next season. That's the only thing you can hope for. 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, feel free, because we still have one segment left to go in the program. Hey, by the way, I got to say thanks to a lot of our sponsors on the show today, which we always appreciate. Say thanks to our friends out at Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill. If you're looking for a great place to go and watch the game, whether it be, say, a Thursday night football game, the Friday playoff games, Saturday college football, Sunday the NFL, Monday the NFL, whatever it happens to be, Curly's Waterfrent Pub and Grill on Pewaukee Lake, overlooking the lake. Great place to go. Great food, too, and a really good time over there. Also, thanks to our friends out at The Nice Ash, West Main Street, downtown Waukesha. Good cigar bar, hookahs there, live entertainment on the weekends, good bands, all kinds of bands maybe you never heard of, but you'll come across some really cool music down there too, whether it's jazz, whether it's blues, whether it's rock, whether it's oldies, whatever it happens to be. Really good bands and entertainment every weekend down there at theniceash.com. That's theniceash.com. Final segment of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers return to practice to prepare for their next road trip Sunday in Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur hopes to have more info tomorrow on the status of defensive back Jair Alexander and his injured shoulder. What about linebacker Zadarius Smith, who underwent back surgery last week?
We do not know if he's out for the year. I think earlier I said we're hopeful to get him back, but as far as the timeline, I just know it's going to be, a while. I know he'll do everything he can to try to get back, and because he's a big part of this football team.
Bengals head coach Zach Taylor watched tape of the Packers win over the Steelers Sunday and had this to say about Green Bay quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
There's a lot of things that probably don't show up in the stat sheet that he does situationally that are just tremendous that you use to teach quarterbacks. Over the 10 years I coached quarterbacks, there's so many situational clips of Aaron Rodgers that you used. I think the one from Sunday is a great example, with him and Tomlin of, Tomlin saw it coming, knew that they were going to get called with 12. If you're not unimpeded to the quarterback, they're going to get a free play there to take a shot. And he scored many touchdowns over his career on free plays with 12 guys on the field. And so we got to be on top of that. We got to be smart with our substitutions because he stares your sidelines down while he listens to the play and tries to catch you with 12 guys. And our quarterback's pretty dang good at that too. That's a step that he's taken as well. But Aaron Rodgers is really good.
That's Bengals head coach Zach Taylor in Green Bay. I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on wrapping things up today. 877-867-1670. Again, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, feel free. The game coming up this weekend, the Cincinnati Bengals offense inside the 20 has 8 possessions this season. They've scored on all 8. 6 touchdowns, 2 field goals. They rank 5th in the National Football League. Their defense, they've had 12 possessions inside the 20, 10 scores, given up 7 touchdowns, 3 field goals. They are tied for 12th. Tied for 12th. The Packers' offense has been inside the 20 15 times. They've scored 12. 9 touchdowns, 3 field goals. 3 times they were turned away. Their offense, their touchdown percentage rank is 20th in the National Football League. But they score most often. Meanwhile, the Packers' defense, they've had 11 possessions. Think about this for a minute. The Packers' defense have had opponents 11 times inside their 20. Okay? The Packers' opponents have been 11 times inside the Packers' 20 and have had 11 touchdowns to show for it. Their red zone defense is dead last. So, in other words, if the Packers can't get off the field, they give up the score. They give something to keep in mind against the third passing offense in the National Football League. If they get inside the Packers 20, the Bengals are one of the best when it comes to passing. And passing the football, they've been extremely good. Now, their passing offense doesn't accumulate a ton of yardage, but when it comes to completion percentage, they are third best in the National Football League. Think about this. Kyler Murray is number 1 when it comes to completion percentage. Dak Prescott is number 2. Joe Burrow is number 3. Russell Wilson is number 4. And Patrick Mahomes is number 5. That's how good they have gotten when it comes to passing offense for Cincinnati. So it's not this, and Mike Clemens said it best. This is not a walk in the park by any stretch of the imagination for the Packers going into Cincinnati, a place that in Paul Brown Stadium they've never won. So the last time they were there, it was kind of a rough performance for the Packers. For whatever reason, they just haven't been able to get that win at Paul Brown yet. So we'll see what happens. The Bengals lead the season series, or lead this overall series 7-6, having won 3 of the last 4 meetings between these two teams. So there you go. 877-867-1670, 877-1670. This one is from Mark, who says, if Ja is out, meaning Jair Alexander, what are they going to do? Well, it depends on if Kevin King is back from the concussion protocol. Eric Stokes has played admirably. You have Yadam. He's another one you can bring in. If you have Stokes in there and King, you should be okay. It's not great. It's not having Jair out there. But Stokes has really come on and played pretty well. Shannon Sullivan, another one that comes in nickel. He's got experience. So between Yadam, King, and Sullivan, and, obviously Adrian Amos back there, and hopefully Darnell Savage Jr. is able to go, then, you're only technically missing one starter. It's not terrible. But if you don't have Kevin King back, and it's Yodam and Stokes, even though he's progressed, they're going to go after him. And then he's got to get a little bit better technique when it comes to downfield and hand play, because he's going to take some pass interference calls if he doesn't quit grabbing. He's got to get a little bit better at keeping that palm open and allowing that hand to slide off a jersey. But they're going to go at him. I mean, it's going to be a weakened secondary going up against a pretty good, Bengals passing game. So, and I don't say that very willingly regarding Cincinnati, but Cincinnati has gotten better. But I guess the positive for the Packers is Joe Mixon, again banged up with an ankle injury. He's already listed as questionable going into the game. My assumption is he'll play, but Joe Mixon, give him a couple of shots, and all of a sudden he's going to be down again, because that guy he simply can't stay healthy. So we'll see. Coming up tonight, you've got Game 1, wild card tonight, the American League Series. The Yankees on the road in Boston. Tomorrow, you've got the Dodgers hosting St. Louis. You've got an off day on Thursday. And then on Friday, you've got the baseball playoffs. Thursday night, you got Thursday night football. So you got a lot of sports in general coming up. The Rams and Seahawks coming up on Thursday night. Don't forget, on Thursday night as well, we're going to be at Three Lions Pub on Oakland in Milwaukee for the Bill Michaels Huddle, brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. We're going to have Tom Oates tomorrow on the program. We're going to have, I believe, who are we going to have tomorrow as well, talking baseball? Bob Nightingale. Bob Nightingale going to be talking baseball with us tomorrow, too. So we got a lot of good stuff coming up tomorrow. A lot of good stuff tomorrow. All right, that's going to do it. Going to wrap things up and be back at it tomorrow on a Wednesday, on a hump day. Until then, time for us to go.